Stocks back at the highs here this morning as we get going on a Friday morning after what has been a very busy earnings week, to say the least. Apple coming through last night with a better than expected report right across the board. Really, really good numbers. We'll dig into them coming up here. On the month, however, unbelievable performances here right across the board for the S&P, for the NASDAQ. Best month for the S&P since 2022. You got to go all the way back to 2020 for the NASDAQ. 16+% to the upside for the NASDAQ. 10.5% for the S&P 500. Back to all-time highs, as we said. Energy kind of flying around here, depending on what minute it is, really, up or down at this point. We'll talk about CVX. We'll talk about XOM coming up here as well, both with, better than expected reports on the back of higher oil prices coming through from what is happening over in the Middle East. Everyone focused on this right now, though. The NASDAQ trying to curl back to the upside currently here after a little bit of a pullback off pre-market highs. But where to begin here? The NASDAQ was just an absolute monster in April. We had earnings right across the board that have, for the most part, been okay. Positive to okay. There are obviously a few exceptions this morning. Reddit, downside in a pretty big way here. But everything else looking pretty good.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think we had the best month in the NASDAQ going back to 2020. So 6 years, not a moment too soon, Brendo. All-time highs. Good morning, guys. For a Friday, there's a lot of earnings names to talk about today. As Brendo mentioned, Apple in focus. And no longer are they going to be net cash neutral. We'll get to that in a minute. But I was telling Katina, man, off camera, I was watching the earnings call yesterday and the corresponding price action in the second. I think it was Ternus on the call, Brendo, who said something. It was either him or the CFO. Price action just rocketed. So the market kind of gauging that they're going to be spending here, kind of maybe catching up with some of their rivals in terms of CapEx, now that they have to no longer be cash neutral. Also, USO in focus, again, down a little bit over here, but Reddit up big, 12%. Roblox down big, 24% here. You also have Estee Lauder almost up 10. mRNA, not a name we talk about that much anymore, thankfully so, but up 7 2/3.
Yeah, some of their, I think everyone has, obviously, to your point, everyone has a bad taste in their mouth from what happened. We won't even talk about it, going back 5-6 years ago. But some of the work they're doing on the cancer side of things, I think, is definitely worth focusing on and worth, giving credit where credit is due, especially if it does come through to be, on the positive side of things, something that touches everyone. But what a week it's been with the Fed, with all of these earnings. What a week for the market. What a month, as we said, for both markets. Welcome to May 1st, guys. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. And it got pointed out yesterday that we never talk about Roku unless it's their earnings, and that we just did the open. Every single earnings name, it seemed like, got mentioned, including Moderna, but not Roku. Roku's up 7%. There you go. Now nobody can say that we didn't talk about them. But the story, I don't want to say it begins and ends with, because SNDK, and there's so many other names, Western Digital not holding up nearly as well as SNDK was, but Apple, slow grind to the all-time high is continuing. So, I don't think we get there today, but next week sounds about right. May the 4th be with you. I don't know, maybe it'll be next week, Monday. Maybe it'll be in the middle of the week, but Apple primed to get there. A little bit of concern with how the market did not respect the blowout numbers from SanDisk. It wasn't quite as crazy with Western Digital, but both these names selling, Western Digital a little bit more because they, quite frankly, didn't have the ridiculous beats that SanDisk has. Almost 100% revenue growth was year over year. It was like 97%, so close enough. But still, we saw this with Micron. Micron sold for a few weeks after their last earnings round, and it was a similar story. I wonder if SanDisk doesn't have a similar fate, and then you have to find a place to buy said dip. Also, shout out to the Timberwolves pulling it off without Ant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Timberwolves are good. I didn't even realize they won. Okay, good. So now who do they have? Lakers? I don't even know.
I don't know who they get the next round.
I don't know. Here goes Apple, up 3.5, as we just talked about. Neil just mentioned the grind into the all-time high. Yeah, it's looking like it's going to be a good one. We got it on our mind today. I'm hoping it does a Google where we fall back in and then we can find a level and then rip, right? That's what I've written down. It's like, we'll be out just momentarily. It's already finished. hopefully some easy time plays. And here's that move down in Google. Didn't start going until 10:30 yesterday, and then it ripped to the high side. We talked about also playing in the midday there. We played Meta off of a nice VWAP bounce as well on earnings plays. So, you're looking here today, you're looking at Apple, you're looking at SanDisk. I'm looking at SoFi as well, as we talked about that yesterday. 16 long yesterday. We'll see if it can come back today. It bounced through that level right there at the close, a little bit of a bounce up, and then there we go. So we're going to try to play off 16 here today. For SoFi, that would be another play. Nice to see IBIT back to the upside as well, 77,000. And it's funny because we said yesterday on I think it was Neil put up that poll about, are you sitting on your hands this month? What's been going on in April? And I was like, hopefully you haven't been. And there you go, man. The best month in a hell of a long time. There goes April, up 18 or 19% for the NASDAQ. And there goes Bitcoin, up 1.3%. They had a decent April as well. We were talking about Bitcoin was down, hovering around 66,000 for a minute, now bumping up to 77,000, as you can see down here. So, yeah, man, it's going to be another good one here. Netflix also, was thinking about that one down there at $90. I was only there a couple of days ago. Now this is at 94. So we'll see if we can get some love for Netflix as well, possibly today. But, yeah, and then Rivian.
Oh, yeah. It's bounced a bit.
We'll talk about Roblox, too. I mean, Roblox down 24%. Roblox, I think, missed on absolutely everything. So that's not a good one. Even daily active users and everything. Everything was under the street expectation. Not a horrible quarter, just not where the street wanted it. Rivian as well. Looks like they're sitting on $5 billion in cash, but like the cash burn for this year is supposed to be like near $3 billion. So they may have to raise again at some point there with the capacity of their Georgia plant around 300,000 units. We'll see if that's going to be enough to even turn them profitable. They might need to produce a little more than that. But Rivian, Randy, I didn't see his car down there. I'm not sure he's in today. But 1570 or so. We talked about this yesterday on the after show. Maybe this is one that you buy if it can wind up holding. But I don't know. It's like, we hate the EV space, right? I mean, and Rivian is a sole EV name. It's like, at least Tesla, you can buy it because of Elon Musk.
You get a lot
buy it,
more.
because of the power generations and just, the FSD. And I know Rivian's working on stuff like that.
Trade Rivian. See, the thing is,
you can trade anything. But,
Rivian's got those higher lows. So it seems like every time it bounces around these levels, you should make it Reddit, Randy. Instead, that's more exciting. Every time it bounces, it makes these higher lows on the daily. And there's been some good, you've gotten some love out of it. 17 there, and then get a consolidation. It goes to 22. We've had a long consolidation. As long as it holds a higher low, maybe it gets back through that 18. But it's like it's just a little barcode action where buying the dips after it consolidates has worked out for you. But Reddit's more interesting than Rivian, I would think today. It doesn't look like it wasn't quite able to break out on the daily. As impressive as 13% is up for Reddit, it was more than that and was starting to sell off. And that daily breakout is pretty much the pre-market high right now, the 170 level. 163 was kind of the pre-market the aftermarket high and some prior highs and resistance. So like that one for bounce. Apple in this, it's a couple of standouts to the upside, right? Like we got what you wanted to see. Like Reddit, they say they're the brain of AI because that's where everything is getting trained off of. And they're able to get paid off of that, and on top of that, you're going to get ad revenue up. It was a good cue for them. The market's liking it here, so it's not one of those symptoms where, hey, well, it's not quite good enough. Like a SanDisk, we're just the market rolls its eyes and then sells it off. But a little bit of profit taking on a Friday to pull you back into prior highs before that one goes could make some sense too. Pro tip just said, can you guys talk about Lucid?
What, the dreams?
I don't like Lucid.
Oh, the car.
Well, it's like they're expensive. Look, it had a great day yesterday. They're really expensive, and well, to be honest with you, the stock is really bad. Like reverse split, they do exactly what you expect bad. But at some point, maybe it catches, I don't know, like yesterday was a pretty good day for Lucid. So maybe that's the start of a reversal for a little bit. It's got to bounce at some point, is the way I would look at it. But
I
it's like those things are really pricey. They're nice. They look great. They look fantastic. But
I like, yeah. I mean, they're great cars. You don't see too many of them. They're like those black swans out there. Look, man, I mentioned yesterday Beyond Meat was going to fly in the aftermarket. Today, you're up another 12% there for Beyond Meat. So here you go, man. Now you're up, going away through that $1 mark. We'll see if Beyond Meat catches some more protein love today as it gets up to 111. There, BYND. I mean, we talked about it yesterday. It was at 93 cents, and then there was that move in through $1. The fact that we held the dollar gave me the reason to say that we should be able to bump through. Now, whether or not it comes back in and tests that dollar, I don't know. But congratulations, anybody that, and I didn't take my own advice, but anybody that did, there you go, up 12%. So not bad if you took the risk there on BYND. This name's been in the story for a while, that protein drink. And then now yesterday, the U.S. government and the Army trying to find more ways to get more protein into the soldiers and whatnot. I mean, that's the actual story. So hopefully that can continue up there for Beyond Meat, and we get going a little higher there with that. So yeah, it's going to be a fun day. I mean, as Sharif had mentioned there, so many names to look at on a Friday. I mean, sometimes you come in here and it's a little bit of a sleepier one. We will have Michael Noss coming through very soon, so we'll see what he's talking about. This is an interesting time for him as he looks at the month ends and month opens and all that kind of stuff. We'll see what sort of candles he's looking at right here.
And according to Laura 8 Jane, today is National Investing Day in the United States. Well, I don't know. I threw it into Gemini, and Gemini said, yes, it is. So we've been doing the show a long time, and I don't feel like we've ever mentioned that before. You know what? Everything seems to get a national day, but every day should be National Investing Day. It should, because it's the kind of thing that financial literacy just is important, and understanding the power of saving and compounding is big. So I didn't even know. Kind of flies in the face of the sell in May and go away. Because that's like the old saying, but
yeah, I mean,
good a day as any, I suppose.
If any day was National Investing Day in the month of April, well, you would have won. You could have put your money in on any day there in April and won, because you open up today at all-time highs.
Yep.
On pretty much all markets across the board, major markets, of course. Not crypto market, that's not at all-time high. Maybe that would be the Twilio. I mean, there's so many names coming through. So, all right, it's 8:12. Let's go back and see what the boys wanted to. Oh, I checked the because we don't have breakfast yet, so I was like, what's going on here? It's a really weird one today. It's beef patty and fried egg. So we've never had anything like that. That's what's on the board. So it'll be interesting. I'm going to show you guys when it comes in. We'll see what a beef patty and a fried egg looks like on a Friday morning. Right there, packing on the calories early with that beef patty. Me too. Let's go see what it looks like. I mean, probably just going to be one of those Costco, like one of those frozen, reheated patties. But we'll see. I hope it's
the mini one.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping it's like a little mini one with like a little side egg. That might be okay.
There's a spot in Antigua that's like a cousin of mine. Well, they used to own it. I don't even know.
Yeah.
They used to own it, and they were famous for their specialty mini beef patties, and they were absolutely delicious. But like that's more of a, but you wouldn't even have that for breakfast. But it was more of like a late morning snack kind of.
When's the last time you've been to Antigua?
Oh, it's been years, man.
Like
I've at least 7.
Yeah, at least, because I don't remember the last time you ever.
Actually, no, it was
even
before,
the show.
It was like right before Aaron was born. Yeah, we haven't been in
at least, yeah.
Well, my parents used to be.
It'd just be interesting to see if those places are still there, right?
They would go at least a few months out of the year, and then when they sold, my dad sold the place. It's like we're just not back as often, and a lot of my family's left too. Jake Hale with the hiking report. Thesis remains. Okay, so you're still short MSTR.
Don't hike too high up that mountain, my guy.
These have been, Bitcoin gapped. I haven't looked at MSTR today, but Bitcoin gapped up. MSTR is up at 2 points today. I don't know. I'm bullish on IBIT today. I hope, for your sake, maybe we'll be wrong about that. But MSTR still got that resistance level, the 187. But I don't know. I'm liking IBIT. Yesterday was silver and a little bit of IBIT. IBIT was okay, but it was more of an inside day. Like you got like a 1 point move a couple times in there, I guess. But the gap up, room to resistance. I think 78 could be that spot. Maybe we'll play into the 78 level, but I want to buy the dips here into prior support levels, like 43.6 to 43.5. But yeah, good luck. Obviously on a Friday, like the first half an hour can do anything for you, and then the rest of the day, all bets are off. But for your sake, I hope it dip. But I'm kind of bullish on Bitcoin today. It doesn't mean MSTR has to go ham, but usually follows along.
All right, we'll go back over to the boys here. 8:15, lots to cover, and yeah, it should be an exciting one.
Worth noting, coming up at 10 o'clock this morning, if we have a look at what is to come, we are getting a little bit of economic data, ISM manufacturing PMI for April, manufacturing employment, new orders, and prices, all for April coming through at 10 o'clock. Then 1 o'clock, this doesn't typically move the market, but heads up given what's happened to oil. The Baker Hughes oil rig count on that. I was just reading as well. This UAE departure from OPEC effective today. So, I mean, the narrative that I was reading this morning, essentially, it's going to get to a point where Iran is running out of places to put their oil and might end up being forced to actually cut production. And then on the other side, you know, you have the UAE now essentially free reign to do what they want to with production. The only logical explanation here for them to leave is so that they can make more.
Exactly. Well, they didn't want to be at the helm or at the whim of Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia had been basically using OPEC for years and years and years to keep a bottom on the price of oil. So if it dropped too much, they'd cut production. The thing about Saudi Arabia and the UAE that differentiates them from all the other members is they have the most spare capacity. Meaning what? Meaning that they can increase production or they can cut production in a way that doesn't affect them all that much. And they have a lot more room to maneuver. So if you look at some other countries, Nigeria, Canada, or some other OPEC countries, not as much room for maneuvering. So what does that mean? That means when Saudi Arabia wants to put a bottom on prices, UAE doesn't have to follow. They can increase production. And so the theory here, if you believe what the analysts are saying, is that once we're done this whole issue with the Strait of Hormuz and prices normalize, we should see generally lower prices, generally. So we'll see if that actually works out in reality.
I mean, you and I were talking yesterday, more competition always going to be a good thing for pricing. XOM and CVX, meanwhile, both with decent earnings reports here. I mean, that's just a weekly chart. If you zoom out on both of these, they're going to look fairly similar. Given what's happened with the price for crude, but benefiting essentially on both ends from higher prices.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. That's the kind of like the catch-22. Sure, you're making more per barrel or whatever. You're making higher revenue, but you're having trouble getting your hands on the product, especially the product out of the Middle East. Thankfully for CVX and XOM, a lot of their operations are North American based, so not as much effect as maybe some other countries.
Not a lot to look at as far as if you zoom in a little bit here this morning, price action anyways. We did get a nice run up early on with CVX, giving most of that back at this point. XOM made a similar move, but again, giving most of that back at this point as well. But worth noting, guys, I mean, again, pricing key. Whether or not headlines are going to affect that today or next week remains to be seen.
Yeah, it was pretty mixed for Chevron. They missed on revenue. The throughput's the best, was the best ever. So to the extent they're refining as well as they can, that would be a positive. But you'd like to see, after what you've had happen with oil prices, that maybe you wouldn't have had that miss on revenue. So I think there could be a little bit of a pullback coming in here. I still like it in this range, but there's almost nothing that exciting for the trade today. It would have been a much, much better. I would like break away from the 50 period, could have been a little something, but I'd say a little disappointment here because it ended up being mixed, and it's not the environment where you wanted to see that. If we're looking at overall, just like the tone for oil today and what that makes you think of the market, well, yes, maybe you didn't, but if you just saw what happened in the NASDAQ, we just popped up like 20, 30 points, and we just had USO drop a few dollars. So we've had oil drop again, although it was a very similar start to yesterday. Like yesterday, oil dropped, and then ended up being the low, like the pre-market low was effectively the low of the day, and they just went back and forth. It trended up, and then it reversed, and that reversal was fantastic for those longs. So maybe we get something like that again today. You know, when USO, if it bounces and does another gentle inside day trend up, wait for it to break, and then that's where the longs can look fantastic. So yeah, I mean, we'll be watching oil. I don't know how many updates we're going to get from the president Friday, but you got to keep your ear to the ground. You're in the right spot to be able to do so. And I'm not really expecting too much out of CVX and Chevron. I think they could just be a little disappointing today.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, obviously, as oil comes down, you know, they're going to be making a little less on their production side per barrel. And it's just kind of disappointing that it's not, obviously this was parabolic there as far as an oil company is concerned. I mean, we really moved since the beginning of the year, like 120 up to 175. That's a huge move for an ExxonMobil, which on average probably 7 or 8% a year would be great, plus the dividend on top of that. You're over 10%. So that little move right there of 20% or 40%, 120 up to 175, pretty unheard of. So it is a little bit of a cooling off period. Nice to see the profitability still there. And yeah, I think if oil can remain quite high, you could grind up a little bit now, trying to hold this 50-period moving average. Obviously, pretty flat there today. Not much volume going through and not much reaction to this. So yeah, I think you're right about looking forward to the CL contracts here. Either trading oil itself, as it seems to be moving obviously a little bit more than what we see here with, and again, I don't know why we don't have the quote, but there goes oil down 2.5%. And that looks like we might have got a little top heavy too, right? I mean, now it's 2 straight pullbacks right into there. So we'll see. Last time we had bounced off of the 50-period moving average, which has been, again, good since January. So this is kind of that move, $57, $58. You're still almost at a double up there since the beginning of the year. So let's wait to see if we hold in and around this $100 mark. I mean, that's a pretty cool and key area that has been resistance. We'll see if it can turn into support. So right now, oil is coming back to the downside. Joe's ready on the big board with some options plays.
All right, guys, good morning. Let's take a look at some of the options activity leading into some of the reports yesterday. We're going to kick things off with Apple, guys. At this $275 strike price, we have a lot of open interest and substantial amount of volume kicking in. We're going to take a look at the contract value momentarily. But one thing, open interest sitting around 22,400 contracts, still open expiring today, guys. 46,500 open and closed on yesterday's session. If we take a look at our bid and ask, relatively wide here for AAPL, sitting around a $25 spread. But considering this is going to be an in-the-money contract, look at our delta sitting at that $40 metric, and our gamma exposure slightly elevated. But one thing that stood out to me here this morning, guys, is the implied volatility sitting at 88.1%. Now let's head over to the contract itself. This May 1st expiration today, going to expire 275 mark. We have this contract appreciating quite a bit, but then starting to come back in. Watch out for after the open, you will see a slight increase within the value of this contract. Also, don't forget, because we're expiring today, theta is really going to kick in. So you're going to see a fluctuation within those Greek metrics. All right, so keep that in mind, guys. Once again, your delta will see a slight increase as well. Moving forward, we're going to take a look at one of the Bitcoin miners here. That's going to be Riot, guys. Open interest at this $18 strike price. We're going to be sitting around 23,300 contracts there, and only 1,000 opened and closed on yesterday's session. Considering we're expiring in a couple of weeks, we have an $8 spread on an $18 name. It's pretty wide, but our delta metric high, guys, we're sitting at $44, and we have a lot of gamma exposure here. So expect the fluctuation within these contracts to increase. Now, as for the at-the-money IV, we're sitting around 94%. That's quite a bit here, guys. But as for the value of this specific contract, we had a 100% return, but then it started to come back in. Keep your eyes out on RIOT at that $18 mark, guys. Moving forward, SanDisk, one of the names that reported yesterday, down a little bit here this morning and sold off on the report. But I want us to look at this $1,080 strike price. It's both on the put and the call side, and you can see the value of these. I mean, they're pretty expensive. That's why you're not going to see that much options activity within this specific underlying, where we have an $11,000 ask and a $9,500 bid. Now, what I've established here for us, this was going to be at the close. One of the closer at the money strike prices on both the put and the call side. So that's when we're gonna, if we're looking to play this name, we're gonna be looking at that straddle strategy. But unfortunately, we didn't exceed that expected move. All right, so moving forward, one thing that I want us to take a look at is the value and how much this is gonna cost us, and the slight skew just due to our delta. The delta on the ask side, on the call side, would slightly outweighed what we had on the put side. That's why we see this slight skew within our risk profile and our probability of profit. All right, so the probability of profit on that specific contract combination was sitting around 41%. The issue with this name, and considering it's so expensive, it's going to cost you a whopping $20,000 just to put on a contract, just one contract on each side. So it's quite expensive. Nonetheless, your max return, you're going to see obviously infinite just due to the fact that the calls can continuously appreciate. That's not necessarily the case here. And we also have to take our expiration cycle into consideration. Once again, guys, 41% on your pop, unlimited max return, but it's the premium paid that is going to get you at $20,000 with that specific straddle, guys. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
10, 11. Thank you very much there, Joe. And yeah, another reason why SNDK probably should be headed for some kind of a split at some point, right? Make it a little cheaper for everyone to get involved. This had a bit of a spike. I mean, the NASDAQ's going up and a lot of things. Bitcoin just spiked. Oddly enough, Apple didn't. But SNDK catching a bounce with that move down in crude and the move up in the NASDAQ, looking much better. Well, it's better than Western Digital. Western Digital's off the lows, but you know that's the problem. If you're gonna report on the same day as a competitor, you're not gonna be able to get past that all day long. You know, people will have a choice to buy the dip in Western Digital or SanDisk, and one of those absolutely blew it out and has more opportunity for upside than the other. So unfortunately for Western Digital, they fall on the raw end of the sword here today, down 6.6%. SanDisk will have a chance to maybe fill in that gap and potentially go green. So they're going to be on watch today. No questions asked, the memory chip names, but one of them is built a little bit differently.
Yeah, apparently Iran has sent some sort of agreement over, so we'll see what's happening there. Iran gave its latest response here to U.S. amendment on the agreement, so we'll see if that winds up kicking a little higher here as the NASDAQ getting going just a bit, and so is SanDisk. We just talked about WDC. They're trying to go higher there. Yesterday on the after show, as soon as it came out, it was just like, it just was bouncing off 1,000, and I thought it was worth a risk to take it down there. It looks like it is starting to pay off a little bit. We'll see if we can break through the 200 period moving average right now of 1,060 right there has been the pre-market high. I believe this name will fly, like I said yesterday on the after show. Smart money, just let this thing fall, wait to buy it back up. I wouldn't even be surprised if we take down 1,100 even today on SNDK with the momentum coming right back into it. The numbers, and we have Michael waiting, but we'll talk about this on the rundown. But SNDK's numbers and expectations and everything really blew it out of the water. And I mean, I've already mentioned like the wealth creation that has come just from this symbol alone. I mean, our next guest, Michael Noss, will definitely understand the fact that sometimes when you find these winners, it's worth holding on to just a little bit. This SNDK, if we go back to last May, let's just go back to last May 1st. I'll try to find it here roughly. $30, I mean, all right, let's just say, you know, okay, let's say $35. It's $1,059 today. So I don't even know what that math looks like, but that is, you know, if you dropped in 10 grand, as we said there, at $30, I mean, it's an absolute wealth creator, SNDK, as this whole space has been. Seagate, right? We saw STX, just an absolute, I mean, some of them aren't all the same, but SNDK I think is probably one of the better ones, as is WDC. Micron's been a huge story, but yeah, I don't know, Michael. You know, as we talk about these names, like that's a pretty big move right there. So just wondering the thoughts on this. And I know we've had Michael on many times, and it's sometimes it's hold your winners, right? I mean, if there's no reason to get out, you know, sometimes breaking tops is what you're looking for, and there's stats out there. You know, if you always buy the highs, then you're doing great. And I mean, we saw it here. Any day you bought the market in the month of April, you've won, you know, because you're coming up today with another up day, and we just closed yesterday at all-time highs. So seems like this is going to be a pretty exuberant market. We'll see if it slows down in the summer, you know, potentially. There goes the market. There goes SNDK through 1060 again, and the market's going higher. So let's go back over to the desk and find out what these guys are up to.
Michael Noss, very eager this morning. It's monthly chart day, so we have lots of higher time frame looks here for you this morning, which is, for the most part, very, very green, as we said coming on here first thing this morning. Mr. Noss, good to see you as always. I mean, best month since 2022, best month since 2000. I mean, it's long-term levels we're talking about here on the back of, a global landscape that's very questionable at best. So, I mean, status quo, everything's rosy, just buy all of the dips.
Kind of looks that way, right? We have the best month on semiconductors since 1999, which could be a little scary for some. But yeah, it's been a crazy month. Actually, I'm looking down here because while Sean was talking there about SNDK, I brought up that monthly chart, and we're like 9 months in a row. If you bought that kind of 35 breakout that he was talking about, you haven't had to sit through a red month ever, all the way from there to $1,000, which is just wild. So it's one of the benefits of these long-term charts. If you're planning on holding long-term, something for SNDK might be just show me the first red month, and then maybe I'll pair some, give me one red month, and I'll pair some back. But, I always get excited when my time on here lines up with the end of the month. And I know that, we're short-term traders and, a lot of day traders out there, and they may look at monthly charts and go, why bother? But I find this just an incredibly almost therapeutic exercise that I just do once a month, where I have my 150, 200 symbols that I go through, and I just go through on a monthly chart, and it gives you a really good understanding of kind of what's happened out there as a whole. And then when you're making your short-term trades, you have just better context in your brain. So highly recommend. Start here with IWV. This is the Russell 3000. And, the Russell 3000, everyone knows the Russell 2000, but the Russell 3000 is actually the Russell 1000 plus the Russell 2000. So essentially, it's 98% of the tradable universe in U.S. stocks is contained in the Russell 3000. Just like the name, there's 3,000 stocks in this. So it gives you a pretty good understanding of what everybody on average is kind of doing. You're not going to get that huge effect from the biggest winners on this name, the same as you will on the SPY and the Qs. That's why I started with that. Again, we had 3, 4, maybe 5 months of just consolidation here and then a breakout. When you zoom out like this, that kind of looks like we're just getting started. If this was an intraday chart, if this was even a daily chart, you might look at that and say, oh, bull flag. You had a big push up, sideways consolidation, and then a breakout last month. That doesn't look too bearish to me right there. Next one here is the SPY, which is going to look mostly the same. We had this big pop up, and then 5, 6, 7 months of just sideways consolidation. We had that little dip and rip. This is, again, a good zoom out, because if you're looking at a daily chart, it feels overwhelming how fast we've moved. If you look at this monthly chart, it says, okay, well, again, this makes sense. It makes sense that we're going up after this bull flag, and maybe this is just a breakout that's looking to continue. Next chart here is kind of interesting, and this is RSP. You notice it has not made that new monthly all-time closing highs in the same way the SPY did. RSP is the equal-weighted S&P 500, so it's all of the same stocks in the S&P 500, but it just not heavily weighted to those biggest names out there. Some of this, I was looking into it, is actually energy. That has just been huge last month, so kind of a little bit of a weight on this month on some of those, not oil as a commodity, but some of those energy names like Exxon and things like that. But if you look at those, they're down, but still looks very strong. Bounced off the area that, it would make sense. I drew out here, that's the anchored VWAP from the tariff tantrum lows. It's the last prior high before the tariff tantrum lows. We bounced off right there to the tick. So the average stock is doing okay, but just not as well as everything else. Now, I got a lot of charts, so I'll start going faster. Next one here is the Dow, and the Dow is the same kind of thing. We're seeing that these two value names, I put RSP in the value bucket, I put the Dow in the value bucket. Still great months, just not as great as we're seeing in some of the tech-heavy names. Next one here, these are just some charts that are interesting to me that you might want to look at for potential trades on a shorter-term time frame. This is WGMI, which is our Bitcoin miners. Came in, again, it looks like a perfect kind of cup and handle, came and retested that level of around 28 to me. Nice bounce, still has room to the all-time high. Next one here is just Bitcoin as a whole. We're focusing on the Bitcoin, everyone's focusing on what a drawdown that we're in, but the support we're finding so far is happening, I think, perfectly, exactly where it should. These prior highs from 2021, 2022, and 2024 are all around this level, and we're pulling back into them. If we bounce from here, that's a pretty technical, perfect chart to me. Next is IBB or Biotechs. Again, a lot of things. I'm trying to find things that aren't overextended, because I know the stuff in the news seems overextended, but this is our biotech sector, and it's come up right to prior all-time highs we had in 2021, and now 6-7 months of sideways consolidation. To me, that's an interesting setup if we can turn and kind of get through there. Next one here is KRE, which is regional banks. Finance and regional banks as a whole are yet to do the little breakout. This regional bank ETF, this is interesting to me. It looks like it's close to a breakout. Very interest rate sensitive play there. Nice look there on the regional bank ETF on the monthly chart. This one, next one is really interesting because this is commodities. So DBC is commodities. You're talking metals. You're talking, oil. You're talking natural gas. Anything that you can kind of put in that commodity bucket. In your brain, look at this as if it's a daily chart. Do you think that does it look like a top? Does it look like we come and we tag that old high and then we just reverse right back down in the range? Or does this look a little bit more like those smiley faces that I've been trained to buy? That might be a breakout. This was the first chart I stopped and went on, because if this is going to continue, then by definition, we have to have inflation increase as well. Because if commodities are going up, that means the price of oil and gas and all of these things are increasing as well. So this is one to keep an eye on. I wouldn't be surprised maybe we rest here for a bit in commodities. But I just, looking at this chart, I just don't know if the commodity kind of super cycle is over. Last chart, I promise, this is one. We have monthly systems over at Stats Edge Trading. We do monthly. We have some systems that run off monthly charts, some that run off weekly charts, some that run off daily charts. And of course, with a new month means I get to update the systems that run with the monthly charts. So I just pulled one from that looks very interesting to me. I have no idea what this company does, but it has pharmaceutical in the name, so just be careful. But it's a huge move from, you're talking $2 in a straight line to $40, and now it's pulled back into that 14 area. That's a huge base going back pretty much for the entire life of this company. So what we'll be doing is we'll be buying this, hoping that it bounces off that zone. But again, if it's moved from $2 to 40, it can move from 40 back to 2. So just be very careful there. So there's around the horn on everything I see on monthly chart. Mostly looking good. A little bit worried about that commodity chart though.
Yeah, and a little bit concerning, I think, on the gauge of the overall move, I think, in the market versus sentiment in general. I mean, there's nothing to really go back and compare it to and say, this happened then and, we continued. But from a technical standpoint, purely, when you start to see things like that commodity chart, that was 4 months in a row, just straight to the upside through highs. We're now closing at highs. Ballpark, how many times does that continue?
Most of the time, I think, and not necessarily for next month, but commodities work a little bit differently in stock. And even if you go back to that chart, there's a couple examples of that 4 or 5 months up in a row in that chart around 2021. And you can see even the first one off the lows, that 4 month in a row that happened right after the pandemic, that led to higher highs. And we had another 4 or 5 months in a row, and then another one. Commodities are different in stocks, in which I always say commodities do absolutely nothing until they want to do everything. And we saw that in like silver and gold. I remember bringing the gold chart to you guys years and years ago, and it had spent 12 years or so in a base, and it broke out and then it ripped. And same, most of this I would say is oil in this ETF. You can see from 2022 all the way to 2026, absolutely nothing, and then a breakout. So commodities to me are just, they're a bit weird because they do these crazy trends. It's why you'll see all of these commodity trading advisor guys. They're essentially just trend followers. They're looking for breakouts and trends. A little overextended in the short term. So like I said, maybe we rest here for a while. I hope, just for the sake of, as someone who has to put gas in my car and things like that, that we are going to reverse here. I just don't know if I see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating for the overall market, fascinating for commodities specifically. Appreciate it, as always. Great insight. Michael Noss, we'll see you on Monday.
Talk to you Monday. Have a great weekend.
Fantastic stuff, always by Mr. Michael Noss. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off with some downgrades. Roblox at the top of the list, down 23+% here. getting a downgrade by Raymond James, going from outperform to market perform with a price target of $160. Now we have the infamous Avis Budget Group with a downgrade as well too, guys. CAR down 1.6%, going from a buy to a hold by Jefferies. Now we have Elf Beauty here, slightly positive this morning, going from an overweight to an equal weight with a $67 price target by Jefferies. And then we have MasterCard with a price reduction here, guys, by Raymond James, going from $631 to $609. Now, as for some of the upgrades, Caterpillar at the top of the list, going from an underweight to an equal weight here, with slightly positive this morning, but a substantial price target increase, going from $430 to $915 by Morgan Stanley. And then we have Apple positive here this morning, just a little bit under 4% here, guys, with an increase from $315 to $330 by Morgan Stanley, and holding that buy rating. Eli Lilly on the positive side of things. Price target increase here, guys. You're up about 0.8%. Morgan Stanley giving them the nod this morning, and SanDisk down, but with a substantial increase here, almost a double, going from $750 to $1,470 by Raymond James. Let's send it back to Neil and Sean.
Thanks, Joe. Well, the cat's definitely out of the bag on that one, because the 900 today possibility for another all-time high. The stocks making all-time highs are insane, but one that hasn't made another one in quite some time would be an upgrade on that list, Eli Lilly. It's your boy Eli, and Eli is breaking out back above the 200. So this one today would be confirmation of that you can hold above the the trend down, and we get another leg up. Retest 1,000 first, and we get that 1,100, and then we can possibly go ham as other things try to catch up from some of the pullback that we've had. That's the thing. Like, even as Michael's saying, like, you might be at the all-time highs, but there's plenty out there that is just starting to get back into the swing of things and part of the story. Eli Lilly would be an example of that name. Oh, we got a super chat in here, big one from.
Yeah.
Can we throw that one up? I was about to say the name. Oh, we have 3 super chats. Well, let's get them all. Thank you for the super chat.
And he's dropping F-bombs because of this stock. I don't know anything about this stock.
So UCFI traded this SPAC on its first day, halted and never resumed again. Looking for some insight on how to avoid this in the future. Is the lesson don't trade SPACs on the first day? Am I permanently stuck in this stock? So I don't know. Was this a pre-deal SPAC?
No, but it's not trading. I think, doesn't open today? I don't know. Why would you be stuck? You can't. I mean, eSignal doesn't have a trade on this name over here, F-bomb, since October. So I don't see. Like, you bought this in October maybe, and now it's down to 550 as it opens up today. So if I don't think you're stuck because it's a SPAC. It's just SPACs should have, and I don't know, we'll have to look up what UCFI, if it looks like it's gone over from a SPAC into a stock.
Yeah,
right
it
now
was
today.
Iron Horse, looked like this last year. Iron Horse made a combination with, Waling.
Anyways, whatever it is, it looks like today it will open back up. So sometimes you can invest in a stock at $10, which it looks like here. You know what? I'm going to have to show you the signal chart again because makes the most sense to me. So here it is, basically at $10, just holding on to investor money there, and then which is what's supposed to happen, right? So you invest, you open up like $1 million. SPAC company, so that just means it's just a space looking for a new company to fill this, right? And so this symbol, and what happens is when it comes out, I guess, like as Neil just said, maybe there was some sort of a deal there, back and forth, and then they halted it, and now it's opening up as a new company today, I guess, at UCFI. So I don't know. Let's wait to see. Like, there's no tap here.
The deal was October 1st of last year.
That's what I was saying. It hasn't traded since October.
So that's a unique one.
Thanks for the super chat. We'll have to find out a little bit more. We can ping Adair on that, but I don't really.
SPACs are supposed to have a feature that when they announce a deal, you have the option. You're supposed to have the optionality to just sort of take your 10 back. Be like, I don't like the combination. here. This is not a deal that I like. And then you lose time value of money, but then you're supposed to be able to get your 10 and not have to deal with the combination. That's usually an option. Obviously, I'm guessing you didn't have that in this particular case. We have a couple more.
The beef patties were like a flaky pastry with beef in it. And there was no egg or anything.
It's tasty enough. It was just a weird, greasy texture for the.
And they're little mini guys.
Yeah, they are mini.
They're pretty good. Too greasy.
TR strong. Hey, you know what? Go Raptors. You know, we're gonna hope to extend the series.
Couple injuries, but as you said, like Minnesota got it done without.
Minnesota got it done without their stars. Hopefully the Raptors can get it done without.
I'm surprised the Celtics and Sixers are going 7.
I can't believe Boston.
Yeah.
Anyways, that one's really shocking to me because you would think Boston would have had an easy road, but they don't. One more super chat, I believe, because we said we had 3 and we had 2. The beer man is back, liking NVIDIA for rally at open room to move. NVIDIA was a frustrating long yesterday. I mean, it worked a couple times. Like, there were some good dips where it would retake $200, but there was just nothing doing past 202, nothing doing past VWAP. 202's it's got to be that wall today on NVIDIA. Unfortunately, this was the dog of the chips. No question about it in yesterday's trade. And you can sort of, just to give you an idea of what this looks like on the 15, that looks head and shoulder-ish. Like it did that and then dropped out, and now you're right back to last week's levels. We need to punch through that 202, or I don't feel all that bullish about NVIDIA at all. I like to say got away with it, because when you look at the chart, obviously the chart says it was a short yesterday, so if you made money longing it, then it's like you got away with one. So I'm not trying to get away with it again today on NVIDIA. Just relative weakness compared to the other chips for now.
I think a stock that's maybe getting going here is going to be Palantir. So I have Palantir. It's on the sticky note today. You guys can go have a quick little look if interested. We just have that out right now. And it's going to be Palantir down here, 140 long. It was only up 1.5% when we had first talked about it. You can go find that at Trader TV, Sean. But I was just thinking that if we do get a drop down, and now it's 140.50, but into 140, this little area right there. These have been, trades that I like, and I don't mind standing in front of a falling knife today. The market's not. I mean, it could get going. ES up 0.2, NASDAQ flat. Not too fearful of a dramatic pullback today, but anything can happen, and we'll trade the market as we see it when it comes through. But I don't mind a Palantir long today. So talk about NVIDIA, pulling back a little bit. Palantir's had a decent pullback. I still got to can't get over that Dan Ives calling a triple from here, but we'll see what winds up happening to Palantir. All right, let's go back over to the desk. Thanks, Michael Nosh, for some of those reviews there, some monthly candles. And as we open up the month of May, will it be the same as April? I doubt it, but
Probably
we'll
not.
see. We'll see. Record-setting month.
Yeah.
All right, we mentioned this one earlier, but it's coming back in a little bit here. mRNA, Moderna, nice move this morning on the back of this report. Tried to hold on to $50 briefly, got below it, and now we're starting to break back to the downside here this morning. A lot of this report focused around this RSV vaccine or mRNA treatment. As I mentioned earlier, if you're with us 8 to 8:30, I think a lot of the focus with this company has been shifting, or the narrative anyways, towards some of the cancer work that they're doing and some of the mRNA cancer treatments that are in the pipeline, if you will. I mean, there's nothing useful, it seems, as of yet, but let's see what happens. I mean, as of this report, though, I mean, decent report, but I mean, we're coming back in hard here. You're muted.
We've been looking for a different path for that mRNA technology. I mean, it feels like almost 6 years now we've been talking about it, kind of that post-COVID move. Let's talk a little bit about the report, guys. $1 billion in revenue, well ahead of the $758 million the street was expecting. That's a 32% beat, so strong upside surprise there. International sales did increase, still underperforming U.S. sales. The key catalyst, though, as we're looking at here, the FDA approval of the updated COVID shot. I'm not sure how much that matters anymore, but that is the clearing of that regulatory overhang. Strategic shift, though, as you mentioned, Brendo, expanding into oncology, a.k.a. their cancer vaccine, as well as the rare disease pipeline. No explanation, though, as to which ones other than cancer they're pursuing.
Yeah, I mean, we just went through a whole bunch of monthly charts that look great for the market overall with Michael Noss there. This is a daily chart, obviously, but if you zoom out this monthly candle, not going to be as pretty. We're below 48 bucks here, and then some. Looks like a reversal candle even here this morning, guys. So what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days in a row, even with a decent earnings report downside.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the one today. Volume's a little bit lightish. The weekly chart doesn't look any better than the daily chart. It does seem like it's rolling over from those recent highs. You've broken the upward trend. You can see there's your higher lows. That got broken here with the 50 period. So even if you bounced, you would have thought resistance back into that 50, which seems like, I guess, in that pre-morning, the early morning spike, that's what's happened. But it's already filled in the gap to the prior high. If I liked it, which I don't, that'd be a place to look for a bit. And not enough activity, really. Like Moderna's the kind of name where if it's going to go, you'll see that like squeeze-ish, like explosive volume. And if it's too quiet, then it's a stay away. It's a very momentum story for sure. I do hope then, if they can use this technology and turn it around to combat cancer, that'd be fantastic. And I know a lot of the run-up is on some optimism along those lines, but it's like put up or shut up, right? And eventually, when the market has plenty of other things they can rotate into. Stock like Moderna, I call this disappointing.
I'm not sure how 25% of their sales is still COVID vaccines. So I don't. That's a little bit of a worry to me there, because I just don't know how much action that's going to be able to sustain. 938 million year over year is a great number versus 281. So for some reason, this last year, we've had almost 4x the COVID vaccines distributed, and their Q1 revenue is only $1 billion. So if you divide that by 4, you're roughly at 20 to 25% of their business is in the is in COVID vaccines, which that's the way I'm reading it. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's not a great one there. I think J&J, I keep thinking about getting some more of these shares, and it just keeps on ticking just a little bit higher. I was looking to see if we could dip just a little bit more than where we have here on J&J, but not quite yet there. This is the name sort of in the health space that I like. We're still in AbbVie and we're still in Eli Lilly, but J&J I think is a good one there. Or ISRG, right? We talked about some of the robots there. Intuitive Surgical. But there's competition coming. So Intuitive Surgical, this is kind of like a Palantir type of play. This thing went really hard when it first came out. And now, as we all talk about, everything being built robotic now, you do have some competition coming in for ISRG. It's just like, I remember before when we were showing those robots, Boston Scientific, they were one of the names that first popped on robotics news, like maybe 10 years ago or so. And I remember Sharif, he's like, is there even a stock? And I was like, yeah, man, BSX. Like, we don't even talk about some of these names because they're forgotten. They've been here for a minute, and now all of a sudden everyone's kind of catching up to them. So, and look, I didn't even realize this is what Boston Scientific looked like.
Well, because that's why.
But there you go, right? So, it's straight to the downside there, as used to be a darling in the robotics space, and now it's just gotten past, right? So there goes BSX to the downside. Maybe there is some sort of a value here. What the hell's up with BSX? But there goes the downside. So Rose is not everywhere, but in many names, of course, there has been. So, all right.
Before we go back to the desk,
yeah, let's go.
A high of the day test on Q here. So Q Biopharma, they're trading. It was actually last night's news. They announced they entered into a license agreement with Ascendant Health Sciences to develop, manufacture, and commercialize Ascendant 221, which obviously is some form of drug. So yada, 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 pharma. But sometimes the bigger story with these is the float. The float here is 3.2 million. Benzinga has the short float percentage is obviously incredibly wrong there, so I'm not even going to bother.
Incroyable.
I don't think I've ever seen them. That's a typo. It says like 200%. But with a tiny float that's already turned over once and up 100%, this is very much in play. It's actually held on to VWAP there. And if you're just looking at the history of this, I believe this reverse split though. So let me go to eSignal, because ours doesn't really. Oh, yeah, there's one in here you can just barely see a reverse split. And there's some bag hold levels, in the past when you get into the 30 range here, like above 28 into 30, which is where it's having trouble chewing through as we speak. But been strong, doing pretty solid volume in here in the pre-market. I guess one for Sharif to look at in the midday and at the open. You know, there's going to be runners everywhere. Like there's a lot of earnings, actually a lot of earnings names today, and earnings names across multiple sectors, multiple market caps. Sure, like it's something for everybody today.
I just got a note right here. If you scan this barcode right here from Beyond Meat, they send you one free protein shake. So you just got to scan.
Well, I want to try this.
Yeah, you just got to scan that barcode right there. We bring this up because I actually think there's a good chance that this thing runs here today. So up 13%. Neil's scanning it. Yeah, just pick your flavor. You just got to scan that. And then if you start to break out right there, this is a good little level, right? I mean, this is what you're looking for. Dip by into 104, 105. If it holds that, boom. Okay, well, now it's okay. Well, okay, if you didn't scan that barcode, I mean, it's starting to get out of that code right now. So get ready for that nice little break here. Up 1 penny, man. I mean, every penny is going to be up a couple percentage points as we continue to climb a little bit higher on BYND. Showing in the pre-market, if you're coming up here, 115 we got to last night. So here's a 1 minute. Get down. Right there, 115 yesterday at 6 o'clock. And look, yesterday when we were closed, that was one of the trades that we had talked about, trying to potentially go long on Beyond Meat. And there it goes, up 15% from that $1 mark. I think that's a good break level. We're going to have, I'm not sure this will be on the rundown, but we had this yesterday. We talked about Beyond Meat a little bit. It's been pretty hot for a while, bouncing off the 50-period moving average, 80 cents. BYND, just if that floats your boat. I mean, we do have some small cap traders and guys that are looking for bigger moves. So we'll wait to see what happens there with BYND. Probably a pay for short situation, but over $1 isn't nice. Gap. Well, they finally changed their name, right? It used to be GPS. Over into Gap right
Retail's
there.
Been tough, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's bound. The only good thing about, well, I don't know. We'll have to look. I don't know when they're reporting. We can check. I mean, I think retail always reports late, right? So we can see what's going on with Gap. Probably not for a minute. I don't even see them reporting anytime soon. Here it is right here. We just go into calendar and we'll find it. It is, they are reporting on May the 28th. So we still have a while to go there, almost a month before Gap reports. Right now, if we go over to their overview right here, 16% short float. Yeah, not too bad there. Market cap of just $9 billion, so pretty low on that one. PEs, which is about right in the space, 10 to 11, so some kind of value coming on there. Short float might get this thing going, that's for sure, so we can have a look at GAP. But yeah, retail's a tough business. I mean, unless you have Sydney Sweeney or something like that promoting your jeans there, and apparently those are good jeans. Right there, $29.50 has been the double top there for Gap. But look, the good news is we've come down and tested the 200 period before and bounced quite nicely off of it. So yeah, if you're trying to think about summertime, I mean, I think Gap does a pretty good job of advertising throughout the year, and get some of that summertime clothing there as people look to switch over. Gap, a relatively cheap alternative. They're owning names like Banana Republic and Old Navy as well. So a couple different angles there for Gap. I like the stock, I think. Down there at the 200 period with only a 10 PE. I've seen worse there. I don't know if there used to be a dividend, but I'm not sure. You guys can check that out. But yeah, not too bad. What's up, Randy? Oh, Randy, yeah. I asked this man for a coffee, and 2 minutes later, it's right here. So thank you so much, Randy. And thank you for all the power, man. That looks like that's all gone back, and we're ready to rock and roll now here today as Bitcoin up to 78,000 again, and we continue to climb right now for IBIT and the rest of them. Randy, we did have Rivian, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. There's IBIT up a little bit. Rivian down 5% there today. Yeah. If you've been buying the dips, you've been okay. I mean, this has been a good dip level here at $15. So we'll see if it comes back in there. Talking about a cash burn of over $3 billion this year when they only have $5 billion in cash. So we'll see if Rivian has to raise again. And if they do, there may be a little bit of troubles there. All-time highs, open sales profits, or run up. I don't know. I think Apple's been a good report. Yeah, thanks, Randy. Thanks a lot. To start the month, it's always going to be interesting to see what happens. Potentially a little bit of a flush, maybe. Well, we can wait for the imbalances to come out. Maybe that'll give us some sort of an indication. But
we're mixed to a certain extent. Like you had just as many drops as you had strength, and you didn't get the big boys. Like you should take it. We got to take a cue from, and we haven't even mentioned this. Like I know we had a lot of earnings names, but like 2 days ago, we had some big ones out there with Microsoft, which is still. I know it's up. And there was a huge bounce in the afternoon, but you're still underneath the prior earnings support levels, right? And then you've got Meta, which Meta didn't necessarily have the best of times on earnings. That's still underneath its earnings lows, and we can say Amazon a little bit better for sure. And another super chat here from Matthias. Good morning, guys. What's your opinion on the trade desk? Well, you know what? My mother always said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. I feel like there's probably a bottom that can happen in some of the software names. There was a good rally in like ServiceNow and CRM, and these have caught some bids. Even Oracle caught a little bit of a bid. If you squint far enough, you could make the observation that the trade desk is off of the lows. I'm sure there will be a turn and there'll be some kind of a good squeeze, and maybe this consolidation is it. Like there's some signs that that's the case. Like it hasn't, the last time it tried to break away from the 50-period moving average, it then got cut by 60% or so. Yeah, it's about 60%. The last time it tricked you into a bottom, it fell another 60%. It would seem like that's not likely to happen again, but history can repeat itself. What it wasn't able to do was break out of prior resistance. So like to me, when it holds at 50, can it break out at 30? Not so much can it trap you from 25 to 30, because that's like guessing the bottom. If this is a low, then I'm suspecting if it actually breaks out a big resistance level, you'll be much, much better off. You have confirmation of a low as opposed to catching a falling knife. There's so many options that, like, look at how many things are at the highs. And I get it. There's always that let's bottom pick because there's so much. It's so easy for it to go 30% because it's down so much.
Right.
I feel like the NASDAQ just went 20. It's so much easier buying the dip on something upwardly trending, and it seems like, oh, I don't want to buy the dip. Like things are way too high. I'm just going to show an orderly chart because this is one that, well, it was orderly. It's not anymore. Again, this was an orderly uptrend where if you just join, yeah, it seems expensive, and when it consolidates on a bull run, it still seems expensive, but you almost got to double up. Like G Vernova, people would call dead money for a quarter when it consolidated an upward trend, not a downward trend. Then when it broke that out, it almost doubled. So like you can find strong stocks that can still have room to go or that are pulling back but still in an upward trend. I much prefer that to the whole bottom pick. It's not that you don't take shots here. I mean, I took some shots at Lululemon last year. It happens.
Yeah, no, and we did get a funny thing there from, I think it's gone now. We had another, we can run through the super chats if you want to. Just something funny about how, will the Army eventually have less recruits because of this Beyond Meat stuff? There it is right there. Will they struggle with recruitment when they start feeding soldiers fake meat? I don't know how that's going to go. I think it'll be an alternative there. I'm sure they will still. Pootie Tang moon cheese, yeah.
You ever watch Pootie Tang?
No, but I know what it is. I know. Isn't it that black and curly hair?
Yeah,
Jerry
Chris
curls.
Rock is hilarious.
Yeah. Okay, here goes JK. I'm more of a swing trader. Okay, so you're in there for about 2 weeks as a maximum there. Yeah, so there you go. I think that's a good thing. And this is the most important thing about trading is understand what your time frames are and what you're looking at. Because we can sit on here and say, oh, MSTR short, like all these ideas that Neil and I are talking about, unless it's a long-term talk like that TTD or GEV or something like that, most of the trades that we'll be putting, all of the trades that we'll be putting on and discussing today during the show are day trades. We have to be flat at the end of every day. We sit here on a prop floor, so we want to thank everybody for paying attention and watching out to what we're doing here. And we have a very important segment now, as it's our rundown. We're going to go over a bunch of different stocks. You can grab our watch list free. The link is in description. Shree's Morning Note is also there for members, so you guys can definitely have a good rundown of what to be prepared for every single day. We have our notes out as well, so it's all ready to rock and roll. Let's go over to the desk and kick it off here on Friday, May the 1st.
Tell a man go away, right, Brenda?
I don't know.
That's the case anymore.
Not with those monthly charts we just saw. That's no.
Michael Noss,
Definitely
right?
not. Yeah.
Should we look at the futures?
Yeah, go for it.
718 3/4, guys. That's where we closed out yesterday on the SPY. That is another all-time high with the overnight high actually breaching 720. Look at that. We're above 720 right now, already up 1/3%. So we're going to look to yesterday's support level. Or no, actually it was a resistance level yesterday, 715. We've cleared that decisively. So we'll say 715 as support if we sell off. We'll look to the overnight high, 725-ish. If we can breach the overnight high, we're looking at that 725 level, Brendo, as resistance level 1.
As always, if you haven't done so, grab that free watch list. Link is below in the description. All you need is an email address. You get it right to your inbox every single morning. Just real quick, going back to the guys were talking about the robotics angle. I was watching a really, really interesting video on this. There it is. This company the other day. This is the one they had at the White House going back a few weeks ago. It's Figure AI. I mean, we've been kind of discussing the simple fact that anything you see about Tesla's robot at this point hasn't been tremendously impressive. This video that I was watching about this thing is the other end of the spectrum. I mean, folding laundry, folding napkins, putting utensils away in a kitchen, like the dexterity alone in like that hand is just, hold on. Yeah, we'll get back to it. But like, I mean, the hand movement, you'll see here in a second on this video, the hand movement alone is just incredibly impressive for this thing. And it's all wrapped in this material.
Yep.
And you can, I guess there's going to be a whole marketplace for how you want it to look. You can dress it up as a butler if you want it to look like a butler with a black suit and tie.
I love that.
I mean, they're smaller, they're little things. Yeah. Like, again, if you go back and you can find it on YouTube, I'm sure there was a video of Melania walking out of the White House, and it was the one that was with her. But I mean, the CEO was talking about $40 trillion potential market for these things coming up, and that's just 50% of GDP essentially. If you consider what wages make up, sure. It's roughly 50% of GDP, so 40 trillion. So even if you take a fraction of that, like that's a huge business.
Huge. And can I say something to you? What I notice about these droids, or whatever we're calling them, they're not limited by human range of motion. No. So that they can do a lot more than we can, even though they hold the same form factor.
Some of it is terrifying, but I'm sure it'll become the norm. Let's talk about Apple.
All right, guys. So I was on the call. I was listening to the call yesterday. Really interesting. You didn't get much of a market reaction after the earnings came out. Then the call started at 5, and the CFO came on, and he said a few key words that sent this one about, I think it was like at the high, $15, $16 higher than where it was trading before he said those words. And those words were net cash neutral. Essentially, what they were trying to do basically is have the cash on hand and the debt that they have sort of be in balance and offset. That's no longer going to be the case. So that opens up a couple of avenues. One, you can have more aggressive share buybacks, and that puts money obviously back into their shareholders' hand. And with the AI spend now, kind of the arms race, the AI spending arm race, this gives them more of a clear runway to spend what they want without having to have this sort of net cash neutral, which they've been following since 2018. Also, the MacBook Neo absolutely blew out of the water. They couldn't keep up with demand. They couldn't make enough of these to catch up with what the street was looking for. And then they're basically saying a lot of educational districts are adopting the Neo, leaving the Chromebook. That's another good avenue to pick up there. And a little accounting, magic over here. So they announced another $100 billion share buyback in addition to what they already had on the books. And you know what that did, Brendo? When you take 42 million shares off the market, it ends up increasing EPS artificially by 22%, even though revenue only grew by 17. Yeah. So a little, well, I know, but 22, right? Slow down. So some accounting magic there. Yeah. And they also spoke well about premium devices selling well in China, the Pro and the Pro Max basically dominating there. They're the #1 category in the premium device segment. Premium device segment. So we'll see how that works.
Yeah, the overwhelming narrative seems to be with this Ternus guy, we're going back to a hardware guy from a manager, if you will, who is definitely not a hardware guy. So potential for amazing things to come, I think, still. I mean, the cheaper, what's it called? The cheaper computer or laptop, the Neo. Yep. was him. Like he was behind that, the creation of that entire thing, and went directly at the low end Windows-based laptop market.
I just want to say one thing. So, and I was telling you off camera about this, and this is really important because this is one of the Apple headwinds. Let's be honest about it. RAM pricing. Yeah. He was pressed by the Melius researcher. He was pressed by the Goldman analyst. He refused to give any details about how Apple is going to navigate the cost of RAM, the increased cost of RAM, from June onwards. He gave a guide. He spoke about the December quarter. He spoke about the current quarter. He guided to the June quarter, refused entirely to even say what the options would be. Price hikes, pressuring suppliers, refused entirely. You and I speculating off camera. It could be to kind of keep his competitors at bay. Perhaps he doesn't want them to know what he's doing.
Yeah, lots to come on that front, guys, for Apple, but looking pretty good here today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, the good thing for Apple would be that to the extent that if eventually you see the necessity to pass on higher prices to the consumer, they'd have the ability to do that. They haven't gotten to that point yet, and they've had the scale and the ability to maybe get some long-term deals done, to get some secure pricing when it comes to memory. So like they've got options out there, even if there was no clear answer as to what they're going to do. Like I feel like they've earned a little bit of trust, right? Like I think so at this point. So anyways, I like the report. The cash flow neutral thing, I think that could cut both ways depending on what you use the money for. That the discipline that the company's always had has been a good feature for them. That's what makes them fun and boring to hold, which is great. So I think that could go either way, but for now the market likes it. I love the fact that we're kind of cleared out on the way to the all-time high. So the levels I'm looking at are 77 and 79. 77 is just the prior high close in the latest run, that run up that was in February. So that's one resistance spot to come in, and then pre-market lows. We're trending down, but that's just because we've gapped up and then made that high in the pre-market. A lot of stocks have done exactly the same thing. The market did the same thing. So 77 and 79 are where I'm looking for that bounce and go on Apple. And sometime next week, I'm expecting all-time highs.
Yeah, so I have a little lower, 276 as a dip. We talked about what Google did yesterday. We'll see if Apple pulls back. I mean, Apple doesn't have the levers that Google has. Like, you could question more, I guess, of Google's business. There's just more going on there. I think Apple's pretty consistent. I mean, it only had an expected move of 3%. So you're at that move right now. I just, I like the story there with Apple. I also said that we might have to take 280. As a dip buy there as well. So you're right into 280 right now. And of course, we wrote this thing down at 730, and we were just bouncing off of 280. Actually, we weren't there yet. We got to 280 at about 830, and then again right here at 9. So now you're going to see maybe a pullback. There's your 278 level, the 200 period. The reason why we zoomed it out a little bit to get that 276, that's your 50 period moving average. And then the reason why I wrote down 275 is that's where we closed there yesterday as well. Obviously, we had that up and down movement. We saw a nice rally there on the imbalance, and then the imbalance flipped, and we made lows. Like, imagine yesterday being able to pick this thing up at 268 just by accident because you were buying the close there. But there it goes all the way to the upside. Remember, there was a big sell imbalance, right? So that's what shot this up and down and around. But anyways, regardless, Apple seems to be working out, man. Also, a dividend increase. It's a small dividend, but they up at 4%. So I think it's now 27 cents per stock. I mean, it's nothing. It's going to move 27 cents from now till the next 5 minutes. But still, good to have that little piece in there. And I mean, the only thing that missed was iPhone revenues. And I mean, iPhone is their flagship there. I like the Mac Mini story. And as more and more people look to, get involved with AI, Apple's great hardware. And apparently the software, everything is matching up with Claude here. So Apple, I think, wins. And then also we talked about Ternus. He's the guy behind the iPhone 17, which has been huge. And also the guy behind the MacBook Minis and the Neo. The MacBook Neo, not the Minis, the new sort of piece that's coming after the Chromebook. So we said that, as like my kids, for example, they like the Chromebook, but they don't really. It's given out by the school, and it just has very, very minimal things on it. Apple, I think, will be able to drive that market and can steal some of that from Google. So
it's a big thing in the schools right now.
Yeah,
Getting everybody, whether it's tablets or just mini Chromebooks.
It's a
gigantic market. I don't know what it's like. I have to look look up what it's like in the States. I know it's a big deal in the GTA here
Yeah.
in Canada. I would imagine it's a big deal in the US.
I don't know. Every kid in our school has one, so that's a Chromebook right there. We always get nervous that our kids are going to lose them, but they haven't lost them yet. So
Rivian nice, huh?
okay.
Rivian wasn't so nice, but maybe,
No,
maybe it'll turn
Rivian's.
nice.
Yeah, I think it's a nice car, but I don't think it's a nice investment. Let's go back over to the desk.
Yeah, overall, decent report. It could have been worse. Always can be worse, but the R2, the focus really throughout the entire report and projections for that. We were just talking earlier this morning. The projections that I was seeing for pricing, essentially for this side of the border, 73 to 78, essentially Canadian. Once you price in all the tariffs and the exchange and
Why is
yada,
everything
yada.
so close to 100,000? Like, come on, man. Come on. All right, guys. This was a pretty good report. You guys already know everything that's out there in the mainstream. I want to talk about some underreported things. $282 million, roughly 20% of revenue came from that partnership they have with Volkswagen. And that's like basically all profit. And it's for Rivian software. So they're not really spending anything on it. It's already designed. That's a big win for them. Also, to build on Brendo's point, the R2, the bill of materials, so all the components basically that go into the car, BOM, they call it 50% less than the R1. That's how much it's costing them to build the R2, the BOM, and that's largely due to what they're calling large die castings as well as a structural battery pack. That saves a bit of money there, Brendo. And also Uber's strategic investment. We know Uber-related entities threw about $300 million at Rivian for autonomous. So we'll see how that all ends up working out. And then the Georgia Phase 1. Remember this? They were building a plant. They're supposed to have about 150,000 or something come out of these. They've increased that quietly 50%. Now they're gauging, once this Georgia plant is done, 300,000 units. That's where the R2 is going to get built out. So they're looking to scale. I like it from Rivian, down on the day, but I like the report.
I mean, we had a nice little bump early this morning. We were coming back in a little bit here. It failed at $16, but I mean, this is a long-term conversation still, guys.
Yeah, it's definitely a long-term play. Like, it's a tough enough business as it is. The EV market, you think, would have been a little bit stronger with the shock in oil prices, and I think as long as that lingers, because there's a really decent chance that even if the war were to end today and Strait opens back up, you're probably hanging in the 80 to, at best, like the 80 to 90 range. It still gets pretty pricey even on a pullback. So I think there's going to be some shift, for sure, continuing shift for sure, and some reasons to do so. The only thing about today was I was really thinking about like pressing the 200 period moving average on the daily and 15. Now when I sat down, it was at 15 and a half bucks. It really seemed like, okay, well, that's like one good shot down at the open and we have a chance to get it. Now, not so much. So if I'm thinking dip here, it might just be if it plays off of the low, I guess. Like my idea was looking at that daily chart and saying, okay, well, I want to be buying dips into somewhere into this range. I just don't know if we'll get all the way down to 15. So I might have to look for the pre-market low could be a bit of a shot as well. But it's no longer front of the mind. When it was within 3% of actually getting down there, fair enough. But now it's a full 6 or 7% from getting into that support level. So a little bit less likely that it comes in today, but that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I was just reading on Sharif's note here. I don't love the fact that they are burning through so much cash, but they got to build their business, and if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. But Rivian's not necessarily a new business, but they are running through that new model. So the Model 2, which is the R2, we'll find out when that comes through. Cash right now, $5.4 billion. Street sees a burn of 3.8. So that's going to be a little bit of a problem this year if they can't start to pump these cars out. And I mean, if there's a backlog, there's a little bit of a demand rate there. They have 62 to 67,000 vehicles, which is not a surprise to the upside. So demand remains there, but not outpacing demand. So I feel like Rivian, I know Randy likes it. I mean, whenever we ask him why, he just says buy the dips. So I don't, if you've been buying the dips, that's been fine. But at that it was probably a decent buy. Obviously today people are trying to sell this name out just a little bit here for Rivian. And we said that about Tesla. I think we like Tesla because of other aspects of the business, not necessarily their cars, as they look to build out Optimus and the robo-taxis and whatnot. Rivian, pretty much a pure play there on the EV side. So for me, I'm going to pass on looking at it today long. Maybe it's a short. Watch out for 16 again to the downside. But if Rivian gets a little lower into the $10, $11 mark, I think it might be worth a shot. I mean, we've seen Ford struggle. Ford got rid of the EV space completely. They went hybrid. And by the way, Apple's now coming back in right here on a little bit of a move lower through that 280. Obviously, this did not happen, this little spike down there at 272, but you are getting into 279 and change right now for Apple. So I'd say look out below now as we're starting to get into some of those levels that we're looking at, 78s and whatnot, with your 200-period moving average. Apple trying to go lower. SNDK is a nice beat, but you have to find out what the but is. Let's go back over.
Yeah, not great overall. SNDK, I mean, this was the one cautionary tale on the market itself. We were discussing after the close last night. The negative reaction to this, even though it was a stellar report, tells a lot, I think.
Absolutely. Well, this thing was running, like was
Sure.
rocket shipping up,
Sure.
right? So a little, maybe taking profits a little bit. Three points I want to point out, guys. So you heard the mainstream media really pound the table on that $3.2 billion in GAAP net income. What they didn't say was about 1.05 billion of that was basically a one-time payment. Okay, and that came from some business organizations they had with Western Digital. That's a non-recurring item, so it inflates that top line number, or sorry, the bottom line number by a little bit, not to be recurred. Number two, there's a new technology in town here. I don't really understand it, but it's BICS8. And that's the next level, or the next generation, I should say, of RAM. And the only problem here is it accounted for only 15% of the bits shipped. When you compare that to Samsung and SK Hynix, a larger portion of their shipments are this new technology. So SanDisk a little bit behind in that regard. Number three, hyperscaler qualification. Apparently they're going through the qualification phase, SanDisk that is, to sell their products to certain unnamed hyperscalers. So they've got the inventory there, but they can't lock in the revenue. That could be actually a little bit bullish, Breno, because once they pass that qualification, they could realize that revenue in Q3, Q4, whatever it is.
I mean, we're giving back 2.5 days. I mean, could be a lot worse. It's up still, better part of 280% so far this year, guys.
Yeah, I mean, big backlog, certainly authorized the buyback. All the things that you want to hear. It just, it didn't end up mattering too much for Micron last quarter when it was a very similar sort of blowout print. And I feel like you could see the same thing with SNDK until it proves, which I think we want to get above 1080. You get back above 1080, that's the entirety of yesterday's range was 1120 to 1080, and then kind of like the Wednesday close area. As long as it hangs out beneath that, I think there's some doubts, right? Because then you're not trying to press back into the highs, you're actually rejecting all of yesterday's all-time high. So if you don't break the 1080 level, I think the profit takers are still winning on this one, and maybe rightfully so, because it's a double from, or maybe not. It's very close to a double from the March lows. And when you have that happen, as good as the print might be, I just think you can get a little bit of a sell. I feel better about them than I do WDC. Someone in the chat was like, oh, but Western Digital owns SanDisk. That actually, as of some point, I think it was a couple of months ago maybe, sometime early in this year, that's no longer the case. Invested fully away from it. I think it might have been February, actually. And I think they're a little bit weaker. Their quarter wasn't as good. It was good, but compared to what we saw in terms of growth from SNDK, it wasn't nearly the same. That looks much, much weaker of the two, easily today. And I would expect that one to continue to look weaker relatively.
Yeah, I was looking at SNDK as well. I mean, it is a nice battle back here. I think it'll be strong. I think this name will go green at some point today. I mean, we've seen this absolutely fly around, and no shyness of demand at all. And you're taking out VWAP already. You've held it. You've come back in. You're now holding above the 50, the 200, the 25. Everything I look at now would scream that this is a long. And I think it's a long back into 1050. But with the spread, obviously it's going to look a little spready right now over $1. But it's going to open up even more than that once this market opens, right? So now it's $1, and if there's any kind of a movement here, you can see most of the shares going through are sub 100 shares. So if you're looking to get some kind of volume on this, it's probably going to have to run you over to get the fill. So I would just say, looking at that 1050, I wouldn't hold this below VWAP for now. And yesterday we really liked the Amazon call, and that kind of just went whoosh to the downside early, so and then battled back all the way into the close, right? So SNDK on a good report, still down that 3%, but I think it has a lot of room to the upside, and we're getting ready to see if that explosion does happen here today. For me, it's a 1045 bottom supported by VWAP. I really like the long. I think you buy any dips on this name, and I think, you know, well rewarded here. That you could make your month in day one today. So I would just look for Sandis to get going. And even if you're playing a top break, I mean, there's the move here into 430, and you're bouncing off of 1065 right now. So I think this is hi, Ioana's here, Vlasi's here too. Hi, guys, good to see you guys. Some old favorites of ours, and Ioana was with us when we first started the business, and it's great to see them. Maybe they brought some Swiss chocolates or something. We'll see what happened there. But I saw you guys touring around Niagara Falls the other day. That was really nice. But good to see them. And I'm sure they're seeing a big difference in the studio.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
You know, we used to have trade desks around here.
This is,
you know, and now we have only studio. And it's quite impressive.
We used to have like a tiny corner that was maybe, what, 1/16th of the space?
Exactly.
And now we are 100%. It's incredible and thanks to you guys. Like someone said earlier, like, where does the super chat money, where does it go? Like, well, you know, the crazy camera, the periscope camera, all this stuff. Like every time we got to get new mics, and like it all goes back into the show.
As soon as Neil takes his cut, everything goes right back into the show. So we're really excited for that. But it's always good to see more and more people coming back and around here. So yeah, man, good times happening here. And it's 9:24, so we only have 3 or 4 minutes till we got to get ready for this market to open. Imbalances are coming out. It's the day of Apple, and we'll see if Apple continues to shine here today. I'm enjoying apples, but they're not my favorite fruit. Of course, there. Oh yeah, we have that camera. That goes up and down. You see in the background there, up and down that camera. There's lots of stuff.
It almost looks like a gun turret.
Oh, yeah, it's too shaky right now. Yeah, it does look like it's like a submarine sort of thing there. So, okay, let's go back over. Thank you, admin. We'll take it very, very soon. Back to the desk. It's 9:25.
We're starting to get going here for Reddit. Once again, back to session highs or close to it anyways. Absolute monster of a report here for Reddit. And I want to focus on this. I highlighted this part of it specifically. Monetizing the data specifically, for Wall Street purposes and institutional purposes to understand sentiment and understand conversations and topics and things like that. So huge product, and definitely benefiting from it.
You hit it right on the nose, Brendo. People are calling it data as a service, not software as a service anymore, but now data as a service. Good look. And they got $225 million from Meta to train Llama just for that exact reason. What are they calling it? They're calling it real-time human sentiment gauge. So interesting look. Also, and if you thought, Google was going to cannibalize some of their ads with their AI overviews and AI mode, it's the exact opposite. Believe it or not, guys, listen to this. 45% of new users are actually coming from Google AI overviews. Number 2, Apple and Google kind of are trying to kill off that third-party, or what do they call that, cookies. So now it's kind of hard to know what you were looking at because they're removing cookies. So what they're doing is advertisers are actually paying 20% more for ads based on what subreddits you're going on, because they're able to gauge what you're interested in based on the subreddits. So you got to love that. And then they're also looking at incentivizing their moderators. Remember that whole strike with their moderators? They don't want that happening again, so they're going to profit share with them.
I mean, they've really nailed the monetization aspect of this. It seems the stock, though, has, I mean, it's been a pretty good year, but lagging a little bit. We'll see what happens today. 170, 175 potentially here, big time levels for Reddit on the back of impressive numbers here last night.
Absolutely. Whether it breaks today or next week, 170 is a level. 170, 150 would be like the confirmation that you want to fill in the rest of this gap to the 200 period moving average. And that's a good 10% from here. So I think it's got a chance to do it. Today, probably not. I had 163 as a dip level. Still a chance that it's able to get down there. I just feel on a Friday, more than anything else, you get options expiration, typically expecting if a stock is gapped up, maybe a better chance that it goes dip and then play into a big breakout level like the 170 as opposed to some kind of a clean break here on Reddit. And just an update on the imbalance locator. Goog, 600,000 was 800,000 to the sell side. BBAI, 420,000 buy. NEO's in there for a sell. You got PayPal, small sell, 240. NVIDIA, small buy on NVIDIA of 180,000. And IBIT, 160K to the sell side. I might have to reevaluate the plans on, because IBIT I had down to be buying some of those support levels. I like 43.60 is what I liked. And then SLV was a similar thing. I like that support where it held at 66, and then it goes on a breakout. Now I got to start thinking about pulling back into prior highs on both of those names, because crypto and the metals incredibly strong relative to the market. I mean, they're gapped up solidly when the NASDAQ is basically up 0.1%. We saved the worst for last, unfortunately, with Roblox.
Sean, come do your job. We'll talk Roblox here and get his opinion on Reddit as well. John's roaming around socializing.
I guess, man.
Roblox, not so much. My chart is not updating for some reason. Roblox, not necessarily the same as Reddit. More or less exact opposite to the downside here. We just actually hit lows.
Yeah, that's a problem, Brendo. $1.4 billion in revenue. It did grow, but it missed the expectations of the street. Also, a little light here was the net loss widened to negative 35 pennies per share. The street was looking for negative 32. Rising costs, creator payouts are pressuring margins, according to the reports. Daily active users did increase to about 132 million per day. That was about 34% year-over-year increase. But hey, money talks, and you know what walks, and this is down pretty big this morning.
Yeah, I mean, we just hit new lows and then trying to bounce here back above 42 bucks. But I mean, it's going to be a tale of, I think, what the market does today overall. Keep in mind, 10 o'clock data coming up this morning. Dara will have that for you. Otherwise, it has been quite the week. Guys, good luck.
For dumbass reason.
All right, well, 20 seconds to go here. Roblox, I don't know. If Roblox, the 40 level was the one yesterday, 40 even, that's where you look for the SSR bounce, I suppose. Way too much of an inside. I don't like it if you have that kind of an inside opening where you just barely did anything in the pre-market. So as I said, I like some silver. We didn't get a chance to talk about the chips. Intel is a 95.
Oh boy, here we go.
Gets there. As we ring the bell for the first time this month.
Yep.
For the last time this week. I tripped myself up there. I'm like, yeah, that's right. First time this month. Let's get the party started. And immediately to the downside is Apple.
Well, no.
What?
Bounce back. No, it was, I think maybe it was just that imbalance there a little bit.
Yeah, maybe there was an imbalance flush. No, it instantly actually bounced to the upside. And then the name we didn't talk about, we didn't talk too much about the chips.
I didn't get to Amazon.
If we push, Intel's nowhere close to 95. It's got to be patience here because 95 is a dual level for the last couple of days of resistance. So if it gets strong enough, I'd look for a reversion on that particular name. So SLV I like long. That's gone. IBIT's also probably, IBIT is so far up here. All right, just got to be patient. IBIT's like $1 from where I wanted to buy this thing.
Well, I wrote down, we didn't get to talk about this, but I wrote down Amazon short 264 right there. It does rip there on the open into the imbalance, and then all of a sudden, a nice little pullback down now for AMZN. So let's wait to see there. The reason why I wanted to short it was we saw yesterday kind of carnage early on Amazon, and then made its way back to the upside. Open today lower against a high market. So kind of liked Amazon short, but a little too early to look at that right there. As we said, Apple, hey man, they came in and they're buying this thing like crazy right now. There goes Apple through 282. Brand new all-time highs for Apple.
So much for that dip.
Yeah, so much for that dip buy, eh? Not all-time highs. Day high for Apple. Trying to take down 83 there, but it just stopped again at that pre-market high. So watch out to see if we can break that. As you can see, the NASDAQ is really on one. We did want Palantir long if there was any dips. Yeah, right. So right now, I think we're on the right stocks. I mean, we wanted Apple long, we wanted Amazon short, we wanted Palantir long, and the other name was SoFi. So far, so good, but let's wait to see if SoFi does have a chance to bounce off $16. And I didn't want to, like, by this time yesterday, I was already in Amazon, so we're just going to relax. That was a horrible trade to start the day. We're going to let the market calm down a bit and trade some of these names. And Reddit, I mean, there's so many names to look at, Neil. SNDK actually not violent at all right now.
No.
Like, I guess right off the open, you went up to 74, it looks like, maybe, if that's even real. But right now, here it goes. SNDK, like we said, look at the spread, $4 right now on SNDK. We want to thank that from, that's Happy.
That's the high day.
That's
break.
Perfect. I was going to say that's from TikTok. So thank you to everybody there from TikTok. We happy right now. Samsara went without you. I am loving IoT.
Everything.
IoT didn't report, did they? I'm long into IoT.
No, they did not, but the Riot logo kind of looks like IoT, which is why people keep saying IoT reported. Yeah. IoT reports usually mid to late in the season.
I was going to say, like, this is a name that I'm in. I do like Samsara, Internet of Things. We'll wait to see if that one can get going as well. Then the biggest of the bears out there, not too bearish today, as we wait to see if Big Bear AI can break through rates flat, if it can break through that $4 mark. So we'll see about Big Bear AI at some point today. And then we said, hey man, maybe Beyond Meat would get some of that protein, but no, you scan that barcode, you did get a free drink, but now it's all the way back down. Watch out here as it's going to test that $1 mark again. So that's something that we're looking at. And then Apple just took out that local high. So there it goes through the day, through the day's high right now is Apple. Got to wait for pullbacks, I guess.
There hasn't, the market is not waiting for any pullbacks. As I said, silver did not even try to dip. IBIT did not even try to dip. You've even got USO doing its part, heading, because oil's right back in through some of these lows. Yesterday was a different story. Like you were buying up in USO, which when it hit the top, that was the curl point. So maybe we'll get something similar. When this bounces, that'll give us some dips to buy, because Apple, as we said, too far gone. And maybe we'll look at VWAP. It's too early for that. Maybe the 280 to 280, somewhere in the 280, 281 range, if you can catch some kind of a higher low. SLV's breaking the high day. That's absolute insanity. And then even Rivian. Like, you've got to be kidding me. Remember, it was like, Rivian, probably not going to go. Yeah. It goes right and turns off the pre-market lows. Just clean off the 15.5, and now it wants to rally. So it's pretty much the opposite of yesterday. Like, yesterday, if you were buying the dip, you had ample opportunity to buy the dip. Oh, today, you had zero. Unless you were looking at Rivian, dip buy, I don't think you had any chance.
I'm
Apple's
actually
pulling back at least.
Oh, is it? Okay, I was going to say, I didn't even look at Rivian, and I meant to. 380, I just got it. We're getting a lot of dark pools here. I don't know what the heck is going on right there, but I did want to think about getting something involved here with our good friend Google. So if that can bounce off there, VWAP is right there at 381.20 or so. Was debating getting some. I'm sitting here at 380.25. So just 382.25. It just missed me again right there, trying to pick something up on the down low. And then okay, there it is. And then just waiting now to see what happens with Google here today. A low take on Google. That's VWAP right there. I don't think we want to be in this too much if we break through 381. So we're long into Google right now at this price. Going to just try to hold it through right there, 381 and change as it's coming back just a little bit for Google. We learned our lesson yesterday. We're not going to be sitting here taking trades too early and worrying about them. So 381 a little bit here on Google. We'll try it, and if it doesn't work, we're out on that dip buy area, and I'm just not going to hold it through 381, maybe 380.50, something like that. But anyways, Google right now on my mind early.
Apple's pullback. It's look, VWAP is way too early in the morning to care about the volume weighted average price, but at least this engulfment candle, or whatever you want to call it, when you wick the pre-market low, I want to see if we can hold that on Apple. So it'll be the first salvo. Ideally, you're breaking this out instead of buying it back in. I get that. But if we lose the body of those candles, then I jump out of it and just sort of, let's not wait to fight another day, but wait to fight at another price, I think. Intel is absolutely screaming higher, and my idea was to fade this thing, but I'm not falling for what we did last time, which was get in way, way too early on Intel trying to short this thing. You have to really wait for the topping tail and a good reason to get in. I'm not talking about yesterday. I'm talking about like 2 days ago. Yesterday, it was a short off of the open, but a different story here. You're putting in a topping tail now, so if it does that rejection of this high, I jump in on the other end and try to grab that one into the south side. So yeah, looking for that short, but haven't really found it just yet, and looking to buy the dip on Apple. Now it's through the volume weighted average price and pressing into the lows. So I might flip short in Intel any second. Oh, there goes Apple. We'll have to fail on that sucker.
Oh no! Oh, you went short Apple?
No, I went long.
Oh, okay, went down. Okay.
Well, the breakout level, I took it on the way back. The breakout levels. But the next trade for me might be short Intel.
The reason why I was
I don't
surprised
mind
there
it.
is look at the market.
The market is absolutely flying
Yeah.
high. Oil is tanking. Apple looks like that was just a bad wick out.
All right.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, no, go ahead. I mean, it might be a bad week. Yeah, we're on Google right now. It's $1. So that's why when I was watching Google rip up, I sort of assumed that Apple was sort of helping this market there. So I do think that we could, I mean, I like the idea of dip buying there. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And sometimes that's what winds up happening. But there, see Google. So we get a piece out there at for $1 at 83s. That was only 75 cents. And then look, now it's right back down in again. So this is that sort of dramatic talk that we're having here where the market, you got to watch out, man. It's now up another 0.5%. Someone asked us earlier, we do thank you so much for Sound. We'll look at Sound in just a minute right there. SoundHound breaking out. Okay. We definitely like stocks that are breaking out. But we had that super chat about what's the market going to do off open. Well, I mean, I said more of the same. You know, we got a good report from Apple. Why? And that was when we had Michael Noss on. I'm like, he'll tell you, you know, strong stocks get stronger. And there goes the market again at all-time highs. And now today, a new all-time high right now as we speak for the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. Doesn't mean the stocks are going to rip or anything like that, but Google will wait for that. I did like Meta on the down low there through 612, but it's right back in again. So thought that was going to be a little bit of a hold area. I'm now back in love with Meta after yesterday's trade. So, you know, it's a love-hate relationship. We'll see what winds up happening with Meta there, but I'm still waiting for Google. Get a little bit more, man, if we can get something. Wow, it just bounced off view up. I'm literally at 381.50. So let's we can put back in what we took there, and we just got missed. That would be another $1. We got missed again by 3 cents, but hopefully it comes back in and fills this up there. So yeah, SoundHound, we can look at that. We can take that off the screen. Do you have SoundHound? You have Apple up. Okay, so SoundHound, yeah, good break there. An AI name. Wow, damn you, Google. It's too bad we just missed that. But yeah, SoundHound, good move, up 5% there. Not earnings, but you're right about that breakout right there. Good. This looks really great. Whoever that was that found that is a good one. As long as the business is sound, SoundHound looks like a great level there, holding that 750 upside to Derek. What did you got on
They
this
report
one?
next Thursday. There's no news on it, but I just want to let you guys know they do report next Thursday. Next Thursday is like massive. I could barely fit all of the little logos on the weekly calendar, which you'll see in a couple hours. But yeah, SOUN does have earnings impending.
All right. I mean, SoundHound is very, very
well.
popular.
Next week
name.
is busy for earnings as well. I know we always talk about the Mag 7 like they matter more, which they absolutely do matter more. It's just a matter of what's going to also move. And names like SoundHound can be more exciting. Like look at Reddit. Like Reddit was probably the most exciting name to the positive side yesterday. Roblox was obviously the opposite. I don't like that lower high that just got put in. It just rejected, Apple just rejected VWAP. And by the way, I don't think there'll be an Intel short anytime soon. So the rejection of the volume weighted average price, stop out, I think just too early. Like the long was closer to and just under the 280 level instead of having an entry at 81. So that's a mistake. Jumped in, and we'll take the scalp trade on this. I don't love the fact that the market is screaming and Apple's putting in a lower high. So if it was doing what the market was doing, I'd like it a heck of a lot more, but it'll sort of take what we can get on the second one. Look at what's going on with the chips here. Like Intel, that is this was down 2%. Down 2%. Insane. AMD, this is another all-time high for AMD. That's the easy way to put it. SanDisk. Okay, well, SanDisk is only actually now breaking the high of the day, believe it or not. I would have expected a little bit more. And then what the heck is even happening? CoreWeave is also breaking out. This was the weakest chip name yesterday, I believe, and now it's breaking out again. All right, we have a little bit of exuberance in this market. I'm going to have to be super, super patient if I'm thinking there's a fade on Intel at all. And then wait for this Apple to maybe calm down. I do not like the fact that you are head and shouldering it here. Wait for the next dip buy. It's only it's only 10 minutes in. So we only have a couple of candles off that 3 minute. And primary trade idea was supposed to be this. And it's gone. Silver. Like this was Silver and IBIT were my two favorite ones today. And they were just nowhere close to the levels we want. I'm not even sure we'll get a dip buy at this point.
We're, I'm
just maybe.
I'm just focusing on I mean, this is what's been working for me, man. Just one or two plays, and I know we're looking at Apple, we're looking at Intel, we're looking at Google, but we'll take another piece out there as it gets in, and maybe it's stuck at the 50 period, but we want to try to let this thing mature up a little bit. We're only at a 30%, but here it comes flying back in again. Look at the NASDAQ, man. At some point, maybe we have to start to think about a short or something over on the NASDAQ, but I don't know. It's pretty exuberant. Okay, here's SoFi back down. This mouse of mine, I don't know if it's the mouse or just this top screen here. It seems to be problems. $16. We said we would have a look at that level. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't like the fact that it's all the way. I mean, look, you can't look at a level and disagree with it, because if you wrote it down and it came in, it had to have been a move like this. I'm just a little bit surprised that the market is so hot right now and this is just fading out. So maybe this is not that long. So I'm not going to put it on yet. I want to look at it. Maybe if we retake the 25 period or something like that, or VWAP, then we could say we found a bottom. But for right now, it does not look like the bottom is anywhere in for SoFi yet. That is making a move down. And we could double check that with Robinhood, because crypto's upside right now, right? 78,000. So we expect, yeah, I was going to say, we expect a name like Robinhood to be up. So that's up that 1%. So we'd like to see that name continue to go higher. I'm not really getting too much else. We had an $8 winner yesterday on Marvell off of an early dump, and it's not necessarily dumping right now. That was that look there at 160. That's $4 straight to the upside. So let's have a look at Marvell off the open maybe now moving forward. SNDK, you know, this hopefully that's not SNDK, $5. Bang. What? I mean, listen to your damn self, my guy. I said SNDK probably gets to 1,100 today. We said that when it was at 1050. There it is. It's $50 straight to the upside there. SNDK. We said, I mean, I could probably rewind this to what, 910, when I was like, this is actually above. I was literally saying it's above everything. It's above the 200. It's above VWAP. It's holding, and there it goes. And those comments, of course, made in and around here when we discussed SNDK. Bounces off that 1050 level, and there it goes, man, 1,100 for SNDK. Last night on the stream when we did the after night thing, that's $100 now. Right when it went down to 1,000, man, Brendan came back over to me. I was like, let's buy that dip, man. And there it goes now through $1,000, 11.11, as that is screaming. 11.15, 11.14. There goes SNDK, man. The smart money is in this name again. Up 2% SNDK. Can you believe you could have got that thing at $1,000? That's 10% lower. There goes SanDisk kicking it. And unfortunately, it does look like we are at a stop out zone right now, because Google's come back in. So we got out of a third. We did reload some of it right here, but it does look like we do want to take down this 381 with the market going upside. Strange to see Google doing this, but here we go, man. We're long at 85s. Adara's got numbers for us. How about now?
I do have numbers about now, rather, in 17 seconds, Sean. S&P Manufacturing PMI 54, forecast 54, prior prints. We are expecting no change here compared to last month. ISM Manufacturing PMI at 10. That's going to be the more closely watched number, but we will get the S&P Manufacturing PMI in 2 and 1, coming in at 54.5, just above estimates at 54. While I have you guys here, we will take a look at the market. I'll also mention a headline that I am seeing here regarding the Middle East. Just seeing a report now from an Axios reporter on X. I would guess Farhaq Ravid, but I haven't seen it confirmed yet. He's usually the Axios reporter on X about the Middle East. Regardless, Axios reporting that on Monday, White House Envoy Steve Witkoff sent a list of amendments that focus on inserting the nuclear issue back into the draft text. So, I mean, again, report is a little bit retroactive, but it is, I guess, just about how the White House continues to want to include a nuclear element to stop Iran from uranium enrichment. We know Iran doesn't want that, so it seems like this issue will continue to exist between the countries. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. Knowing the reporters by, whoa, okay, swath of bot. What the heck, Intel?
Intel is now coming back finally.
That was
I'm flipping short.
Basically, just got to 95 on a pullback. Sorry, check that, $96 even on a pullback, and then someone just swiped it. And you could see them swipe. Oh, that's crazy. I don't want to chase this up. Like one swipe down, and I should be taking this out. That was absolute insanity. They could left their order in the book because they just swiped about 10 to 15 pennies up, and then you could see the rest of their order, and then it's already coming back in. Intel's an absolute rocket. I thought I had a good entry in there to get down into VWAP. I did get that VWAP on IBIT, which is heading up, but Intel moving just a little bit more. Oil's at the lows, futures are at the highs. I'm gonna get out of this one on this push to the downside. If that buyer comes back in again, I'm not trying to stand in front of that. I'm expecting that there could be more than one chance. If that's the high, on Intel, we'll probably get a second chance at it for sure. IBIT bounce, still like the long in IBIT and silver. If we get a chance to get back into the highs, going to take a couple of legs out into the HOD. Silver is the one that got away though. Like there was a dip in IBIT. SLV on the other hand, gone 2.5% to the upside here. Crazy move there on SLV. US dollar looking weak this morning.
Looking weak. Okay, well that should be that's why the NASDAQ head up there. Hopefully I was hoping the US dollar was getting stronger. So we flipped it up on Google. We just took a little bit back. We actually, once this was through 50, we made all our money back, but we didn't clear it because I have a bid at 25. There it is. Okay, yes, let's go right now. Now we're starting to get going here, and we flip it over on Google. We get to the short side of this name, so let's go. We just broke through VWAP, we got out, we now short the VWAP, we short the 381. If the level doesn't hold, we think that there's potentially more of a downside. 379, let's get another bid right here at 380, just for a little bit. We still have literally 80% left of this name. So we'll see if we can get a little bit lower there into 379.65 or so. Here it comes right back in, man, this is a big win now. We keep getting missed at those low ends, but if we can get that price there at 380 flat, then we'll get going on this one. Man, we had a good trade to the top side there before losing it, coming back in, and here it goes again for Google. Let's just see what it wants to do. The NASDAQ, as we just sort of talked about there, made all-time highs, seems a little bit toppy. Google was a super strong name yesterday. I was just wondering if we're gonna give a little bit back. A name that's gone parabolic here all of April. So literally the bottom of April right there, the start of April, sorry, is the bottom of that move, and then all the way to the upside now taking out 381. So we've just bounced back up about $1 here on Google. I won't be in this for very long, and Micron's down. I was gonna say I'm out of this at 382.50, I think is the stop that I had here. So we're gonna let these things breathe a little bit, but so far here on Google, it's been an up and down story for me there. I did like the Amazon short, but that one doesn't seem to be printing much right now. It's kind of flattish, so we don't need to look there. But it's funny to see.
I don't have data on Micron. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, you don't have data on Micron?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with all of my charts are fine. I have an issue with Micron.
I have 531. What do you have?
Oh, it just filled in.
Yeah, probably because of me. Like I probably clicked on it and then something triggered there. But
Micron is flying.
Micron is flying, and so is SNDK, right? I mean, that's the whole thing here. 11111.
Even Western Digital's probably going up.
Yeah, for sure.
WDC, to me, that was the worst of the names. And it's, well, by percentage-wise, it still is, but absolutely flying to the upside now. Come on, if the market's continuing to press highs, break out the top. It's one thing to bounce off VWAP, but if you don't break out the high,
there we go.
If you don't break out the high, then this is still a failed top here, and we have to respect the next move. Intel bouncing right back into the high of the day, so I don't want to fight that one as well. And then SLV. This is the first pullback. It's not nearly deep enough. Like, come on. Like, pull back at least another % here on SLV or silver, trying to get in on that dip. US dollar weakness, good for the markets, good for the metals. They're absolutely flying. What is the deal the last couple of days? NVIDIA is not participating. Didn't we just look at every single chip name going crazy with the exception of NVIDIA? You know what? I'll get rid of that later. You're about to break the low here on NVIDIA. I'm glad I'm not trying to cash the bid on this. Got away with it yesterday, maybe not today.
All right, now we're in the money at $1.50 here on Google, and there it is, man. Daily goal met right there for GOOGL. Boom, boom, boom. 379.50. Now that's Neil. That's $2 now as Google gets into the gates here. Let's see what winds up happening with Google. Just technical selling. I agree with that in the chat there. What's up to Jesse Martinez right there? Thank you for sharing that. I think that there's no reason, right? There's no reason for this to go. I'm trying to share your thing there, but I don't see it anymore. Okay. So I was gonna say there's really no reason for Google to be going down. I mean, we had a super strong quarter there last, and just relieving some of the buy pressure maybe today, potential selling into Friday. That's kind of what's happening in my opinion right now. Okay, so we still have more than half of this trade. We'll put another bid just a little bit lower in the 30s right now, as that's been the day's low. We've just bounced off of it. We actually already have a fill here at 70. There's the lows, 79.25s. If that comes in good, I still do want to short a little bit more of this. Maybe thinking that 382.50, that was always going to be our stop. But yeah, to your point about NVIDIA, like that's been a tough one. Breaking now down. Oh man, we still got to get rid of this candle there. But breaking now down below $200. Man, always doing this. I'm going to talk to the guy today about this and see why we're getting so many dark pools. But there it is, downside 203 again, down into 199 and change. Getting lower here is NVIDIA. I think instead of me being so happy about Google, looks like the real short really could have been NVIDIA. I mean, the same trade broke VWAP downside, broke the 200 period, and getting lower. So Google trying to feel its way back higher there doesn't look as promising as the NVIDIA chart. So
Roblox bounced 10% already.
I mean, you can't. This market is nuts.
Levels that I didn't think would come in for 200, Alex. The resistance at Roblox at 952, and this is already into some resistance. Well, I didn't even bother writing this one down for myself because I'm like, what are the chances that you go parabolic into this? Well, we have very, very clean trend up into some resistance at 47. It breaks trend. I'll look short. IBIT's finally taking out. Silver is gone. Maybe there's like a trade in gold as a follow-up because SLV is not coming back. GLD's, it's still a little bit extended. So yeah, the next trade for me, I'm gonna hold on through the high on IBIT and just look for this reversion on Roblox. I mean, look, man, it was like Candy Maldonado in the playoffs for the Jays, and he misses everything.
Yeah, he's
cut off, man.
He airballed it.
He airballed it all the way. He almost
left field.
If they didn't have a net, he would have thrown it in.
Oh yeah, that might have been under the 200 levels.
He had a great nickname, but whatever.
Wasn't it just a Candy Man?
Yeah, Candy Man.
Yeah,
it's a great nickname.
Candy Maldonado.
But everyone remembers that if you're a Jays fan. Okay, so looking for the reversion here. Just let it keep going. The farther it goes from VWAP, I think the better
ORCL.
it can get. In terms of target,
Oracle.
In terms of target on IBIT here, that just extended and is now filled. Yeah, okay, so now we're filling in this gap. 44.8 is up here. That's where the target was for me, and I actually didn't think we'd get there this fast. So 44.8 on IBIT is the target out. Just want to play it into that high, then buy the dip. 80,000 has been a brick wall. So if we chew through 79, I expected to get toppy there anyways. So yeah, next trade I hope is Roblox, and we're pretty close to getting out of the IBIT long. Oh, I flipped for 2 seconds, and Roblox breaks the trend.
Yeah,
this is why I didn't want to get off of this chart. Is what it is.
Yeah, probably a decent idea to, again, we're just trying to play what we thought was some sort of momentum here in Google, but you can't. We just said that about NVIDIA or about Roblox. Sometimes you can't keep these stocks down for very long. So it looks like Google there. As we had taken more profit, we're just going to average it in there and average it in there, getting out at a 382.50 break. I mean, if we're wrong on that, we're wrong on that. We can put it up just a little. Why don't we go to 80s there on Google just to give ourselves a little bit more room in case we do snap through that 50-period moving average and then quickly retrace back in. But the market is not stopping. So, the short in this kind of a play just does not seem right. We could have definitely bought that low instead of holding the short. Just thought that maybe today was a day where we could pull back. And look, this trade's not over with yet. We're out of the money here 50 cents. It's not really anything to worry about. But if it does go higher, we'd make that dollar, we'll lose that dollar, and it'll put us red there on the stock if it does continue to make its move higher. So, okay, at least this time we're not in it too early. I feel like we're in it at an appropriate time. And if it wants to continue to go higher, fine by me. We have that, well, not fine by me, but we do have, we do have that stop out. Looks like it's going to hit soon. Oh no. So we were initially long, and then we flipped short, and then we get stopped out right there. So a good fail trade there as wow. Now we're getting going. Okay, Google, you are the one right now going back up to the upside there. Is NVIDIA finally starting to go then? Because that would be a good buy opportunity. All right, so there it is. So the market, wow. Okay, we were flat earlier on the NASDAQ. It just takes 1.5 hour.
Maybe NVIDIA wants to.
Yeah, and there goes. So there we go. Good thing we got stopped out when we did. Now Google's all the way up. If there's news, there's news, but I don't know it right now. SNDK, boom, up 2%,
It's because USO, people are asking about news, probably because USO just made a heavy leg down here. Iran state run, Foreign Minister Arigachi briefs regional counterparts on Iran's stance to end war.
That's the story
That's
there,
the reason
apparently.
we get this tank. Well, all right, this could be one of those moments, and we'll see if it ends up being true, where you wick the top. I said 44.80 was a target, so that's a topping tail candle into 44.80, and that means that's me out on the topping tail candle. So that was the plan, and we'll stick to it. And if IBIT goes to 80K or something like that, or Bitcoin goes to 80K, and then we'll regret it.
Yeah.
Definitely a miss on Roblox. But that's the thing. Like, you can look at multiple things, but generally you're executing on one thing at a time when you're a human being. And there's a trend break. I don't know if we're going to be able to still get picked up here. It might if it heads all the way to VWAP, I've completely missed the trade. I might have already missed it. I'll leave it up on the chance that I can get into this thing. But I feel like I'm kind of done with that. Intel, by the way, whew, man, am I glad.
Intel.
I mean, it's only half the story was like there's a buyer at 96, get out of the short.
Now?
The other half is there's a buyer at 96, go long, Neil. That would have been even better. If it gets to 100 today,
it's all the way up.
I'll probably take a shot shorting the 100 level somewhere. I just don't see myself not doing it. I'm happy that it gets to 100. I might even try to ring the register myself. I did say earlier this week, if it got to $100, I need to be trimming the stock. It's a little bit ridiculous.
A little bit ridiculous, yeah. It's the understatement.
No, it's more than ridiculous right now. Augustus Plays, thank you for the super chat. Light, well, you know what? I can't say that I'm surprised that Light is making some fresh highs. That stock has been a rocket ship as well. So 52-week highs there.
I mean, in light of recent developments.
Is this at 1,000? That's almost at 1,000 as well. Unbelievable. Some of these stocks need to, and they don't even report till next week. Some of these stocks need to split. You got to split these things. It's insane. You can't play, it's just so expensive for anyone, I guess, to play options. All right, so a little bit of a bounce in USO. That might give a chance.
I mean, Apple's coming back in, which is kind of exciting.
That gets to VWAP.
You're looking to go long.
But I'm looking for a turn here on Intel, just to take a second shot. You're basically at the all-time high right now for a little bit of a curl. If it fails the all-time high, that could give a second entry to try to sniper this. And it breaks the top. This is so strong.
Yeah, there's really no rhyme or reason. I wonder what AMD's doing. I mean, we did get back into Google and we've learned our lesson again. Of course, we try to learn lessons every day, and we've just been scalping out. So shorting there at the 200 period, which we like, and then outs. I mean, outs right there at 383.10s. A couple outs right there. So we'll see if it does want to take 384, which it looks like it's trying to get going there. I did want to see what AMD is doing here today because last time Intel went sort of ham, so did AMD. AMD up to 358 again, new all-time highs today for advanced micro devices. Wow, I mean, some of these names like just unbelievable as opposed to what NVIDIA is doing and things like that. AMD is just off to the races, and we just did recently get that break. I mean, I'd say recently. It seems when you look at the price action, it seems like it's a long time ago, but just on the chart, that was April the 17th when that play came through. So just watching out for a lower take there, maybe lower, I don't know, on AMD, but there's a new all-time high there, as we say the similar thing there for Intel as well.
98. Careful what you wish for.
Yeah, it's going. All right, numbers. Okay, there it is. We get stopped out of Google, which is fine, as that breaks through 384. But numbers right now at 10 o'clock, let's go find those out.
We're about 20 seconds away here now, closer to 10 seconds from the ISM manufacturing PMI print, forecast 53.2. Prior print, 52.7. Now, as we know, we got at 9:45 a.m. the S&P version of this print, which was higher than expected. ISM manufacturing PMI coming in here, 52.7. That's going to be a little bit below the forecast here, 53.2, in line with the prior print. So again, ISM manufacturing PMI lower than expected. S&P manufacturing PMI above expectations. Here is the NASDAQ. I am getting some comments from Deputy Speaker of the Parliament of Iran saying, quote, the Strait of Hormuz is not an international waterway. It is Iran's natural right and Iran's atomic bomb, and we stand firmly and resolutely on this rightful position. So they're basically saying this is our waterway, this is not the world's waterway vis-a-vis the Strait of Hormuz. NASDAQ pushing to highs, as Neil mentioned. NASDAQ could be just trading higher as USO trades lower. But of course, we know there were tons of earnings on watch. AAPL, despite a little bit of a miss here when it comes to iPhone revenue, it did grow year over year. China year-over-year revenue growth continues above 20% year over year, so good look for them. Apple, again, EPS and sales beat. Really the only things here were concerns about memory and concerns here about the iPhone situation potentially. Roblox, as Neil mentioned, nice rebound off the close, but still down markedly. Sorry, off the open, but nice, still markedly down from where we closed yesterday after their Q1 2026 earnings report. They did have basically in-line earnings when it comes to their bookings and their revenue, though EPS, or losses per share rather, slightly better than expected. However, their guidance for Q2 and fiscal 26 leaves a lot to be desired. But you know it doesn't leave a lot to be desired? Trader TV Live. So please join us here every single day. We'll send you back over to the guys. And if you do feel like there's a lot to be desired, let us know how we can improve. Back to you.
$3.
Oh, man. All right, Google's 385 now and gone right there. The only name that's really, we saw yesterday, Google was strong yesterday. Like, you know, I just thought that today was going to be a little bit of a pullback. Obviously, the NASDAQ being up 1%, you can basically forget about that one. Meta is doing nothing. Google's screaming, so that's, Meta was down yesterday. Google was up. Google's going upside. Amazon yesterday started the day down, and today it does not do that at all. Amazon, new all-time highs again. 270 for Amazon. Just wow. As that one continues to go. Wow, for SNDK is now up 5%. Holy man, this name was down yesterday. There's $150 from that bottom of 1,000. Straight upside fire right there for SNDK, man. Congratulations to all that had just owned that one and just keep on buying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if you make something that's in demand, you're going to get the buyers coming through, and there goes SNDK. Congratulations for anybody on that name, of course. Palantir is pulling back in, so we'll have to wait to see what winds up happening right there as the market is still nothing but upside love right now. Maybe a 142.30 or so. Yeah, that's right where that is, the 200 period, so we can see if that's coming in just a little bit there. But yeah, Amazon upside, Google upside, NVIDIA trying to make that move now as well. Yeah, buyers to the left and to the right of them right now. But is NVIDIA a buy? That's really the question as we keep on bouncing underneath some of these levels. $200.50 may be worth a short, but we know this name can go meme crazy as well. So here comes NVIDIA. We'll see what winds up happening now.
Speaking of meme crazy.
Yeah, go.
Intel is meme crazy. 98.5 was the local top. It's going to run again. Unbelievable. This stock is stupidity. All right, so it's looking like all it could do,
weakness here,
all it could do is go from like 98.25 resistance to 97.75. So it's like 50-cent pullback, and then the buying just resumed. It was a deeper pullback the first time. Second time, it's having a lot of strength. I don't even want this to VWAP at this point. Like I'll be perfectly happy if you just get down to 97. And I don't want this. Forget about the high of the day. My take is if it gets to the high of the day, forget about it. Forget about it. I'm just kidding. Just listen, forget about the high of the day. If all you can get on a short is a 30 to 40 cent scalp trade and they just buy it right back up, then I just got to get out of Dodge. It's silly. It's absolutely silly right now what's going on in this stock. I'd probably just go over and look at IBIT and silver again and try to find the long in those. The market is on an absolute tear today. And I said yesterday it was like getting away with longs on NVIDIA. It's like getting away with shorts on Intel is not necessarily the approach. Because sometimes the short comes in at like 10:30 or 11 o'clock when things have settled down. We're still in this euphoric rush at the open at this particular point. So, hey, what's up, Randy?
Yes.
It's coffee o'clock.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's as long as it's not noon, it's always coffee o'clock.
We can check out. We haven't checked out. So first of all, we did get into the short on NVIDIA. We said, forget about you. I got to edit this data, but we said forget about Google because that's just. This is the same data level I entered before. $200.10. We'll just make that as a low. But there it is. We did short it there at the 25 period. So down goes NVIDIA right now, making a little bit of that money back. As here we go, coming back in. And Google, yeah, I don't know if that's going to come back in now, but 385. Wow, nice topping tail candle there. As we tried to short that one, we were initially long, stopped out on that break. Took the short in there, took the short there, stopped out. Now it's coming back in. But right here, there's another dollar for you. I mean, we just got to cash out of these things. There's NVIDIA, another dollar on NVDA down to the downside as we realized it was weak, man. When we saw SNDK and all these names starting to fly and NVIDIA wasn't, we take advantage of that and put on the short there. So NVIDIA heading to 195. That would be nice for the short, but we'll have to wait to see if that's what winds up happening now as NVIDIA looking to take out the low of the day actually right now at 199 change. So So far so good on that short. We'll see about a reload if we can get something again. I was trying to get more, but that just didn't happen for NVDA there. So yeah, any sort of a pullback up into the same price we have again right now, maybe we'll take a little bit more short. So yeah, so far so good here for NVDA on that side of things. But hey man, still early days. Even though it's 10:06, the market's still trying to figure itself out. Another 1% added to an all-time high. So yeah, it is really unbelievable right there.
To have this kind of a move up when we just finished it wasn't a record month, but I mean, what do we say? The best month for the NASDAQ since 2020, I believe, was what Brennan said. Perplexity couldn't find the answer. It was so impressive. Well, I didn't get the long on silver, but this is at a resistance level. The difference between Intel trying to short it wasn't even at a level. Like the $100 would be a level potentially for Intel, but there's a topping tail happening now, and if I'm a reversion trader, waiting for Intel at 100 makes sense. But when you're at a resistance spot here on silver, this would have been the target had I actually gotten the long, which is silly. So now that you're at the 69, there's already 2 topping tail candles. If you put in a red one here, that would be an entry, and then looking for the volume weighted average price. So hopefully that'll be the next opportunity. IBIT hasn't really dipped to get me back into that one, and I'm really going to wait. Intel's going to get to 99 at this point. 100 is going to be a thing, it feels like. On that bad boy. But now I'm looking for this silver trade. At some point, usually in the morning, you get that one snapback, and I'd like to be able to catch it there. Apple, fresh highs. You got to be kidding me on that. Absolutely insane. Got to that one probably too early as well. But I'm not going to get off this chart. I missed the Roblox reversion by flipping to something else, and then missed the entry on that, and that did pull back into VWAP.
All right. Yeah, I'm trying to work on this short here against 201. Here. So we have more shares waiting if it does rip up into the 80s here where this level is. So if we can get the 200 period, that's when we'll put on a much bigger position here for NVIDIA and just wait for it. Yeah, a little topsy-turvy this morning, man. I mean, trying to find a weaker name. I thought NVIDIA might have been that, and we'll just wait to see. Maybe I put on something else, just add to the position a little bit here at 50s again as we just bounced off of that. Looks like that has been a good top level. We got it initially there and then able to cash out, reloaded sort of what we put on, reloaded what we got out there. And now if we get a nice little downtick here, looking at like 199.80, let me just put a bid out there right now to make sure that we do capture something if that does wind up coming through. We'll put a bid right there. Thank you so much, Randy. That's very much appreciated there, Randy. But here comes NVIDIA right down in again. So good. We were waiting up here. So that would have been a good reload, but we don't have that there. So yeah, that's a good one. Roblox, Reddit, you already looked at Roblox, was already up 10% from its lows. What is it now? Still the same thing, basically, as we last looked at it. So there it goes. And again, a pretty key level of $42 or something that goes all the way back into here somewhere. Yeah, there it is, right? No, that's 52. Yeah, 52. So we already broke through that there last night. So 42 is a nothing burger, but bouncing off of $40 is nice for that one. And then the name that we all sort of liked going into the report, Reddit does show up today with a good report last night and with good reaction here today. Obviously, it's down, but still holding up 10%. And maybe this one tries to go as well. We saw a rebound yesterday in Meta off of some key levels. So we'll see if 157 wants to hold there. Yesterday's level on Meta, of course, 600 flat. All right, NVIDIA pulling back. We're just still waiting for a little bit more shares on that one. Let's just check out, and then I'll throw it back over. Let's check out Beyond Meat. So there it goes. Yeah, right, exactly. Right back.
Oh, it is at $1.
Right back to $1, as we had said there, off that barcode early. It just didn't go the other way. It just went the other way. And we talked about, looking at pay for shorts. And remember, that level that we liked was 115, was a level made last night. We didn't break through there. So we don't have the long. I did like it if it broke it, but 112 looks like the high there for Beyond Meat. And here we go. It's looking to break through $1 again. 40 million shares there. Intel and Palantir.
The best thing about a breakout strategy is it enforces entry discipline because you're not going to be in it if it doesn't break out. That's the good thing about. That's why it's such a simplistic setup. Because you go if you're buying a dip on trend, like you can talk yourself in and out of a million things, but a breakout's a breakout and it's simple. Like if I'm looking for reversion, there's a million rules you can have there, but if a breakout doesn't go, you can't lose on the trade.
You can't lose.
Well, I mean, unless you just for some reason get in before it happens. So I'm in silver now. It put in a third topping tail on the 3-minute, which was red. and then I could draw a steep trend line to show you the confirmation on the next candle. But a pullback, even if it doesn't go to VWAP, 68.5
wasn't there? Oh.
On SLV. I keep saying silver, on SLV, and we'll look to take some out. If it gets all the way to VWAP, great. But because my initial read was bullish on it, if it gets to VWAP, I want to be out and looking for a long, despite the retracement. Intel is so close. Just hit 99.
What?
It's 99.34. I wonder if that's not, maybe that was the shot at the 100 level.
So
100 on a Friday, that would just be too big of an opportunity to pass. It'd be difficult to break that off of the open, but it might have already pulled back. We might have missed a chance on Intel. I was waiting for 100 once it broke 99. I've already taken a couple of shots and gotten away with them, so I don't want to rush into the next one for sure. Apple continues to go, but look at these transitions are awesome, by the way. SNDK for the first time pulling back off 1150. You don't wonder if that's where most of the strength is. If the memory names start to make some highs, that could be a reason for a pullback. On the flip side, as long as USO continues to go down, we might just still have a strong market. Low a day for oil futures, down 5%.
Huh. Yeah, I was looking at Palantir. The level that we had wrote down here for Palantir was 140. Very much of a pullback here on PLTR. So gonna have to wait. There's 140, yesterday's closing price. We'll see if we get interested, if it does get back into here. But here we go now. As NVIDIA finally, look, I took a little bit off there for a quarter because it kept on bouncing off at 200. It looks like 200 has a magnet to it right now. The lowest, well, wait a minute. What was I bidding? I'm bidding 81s. It just went to, as if it goes to 81 there. What the hell? Okay, so hopefully it makes a move down again and fills us there. I don't know why it bounces right off me, but that was another level that we were waiting for, just trying to get out of 15% down there as well. We looked at Meta yesterday after it was bouncing off some levels, and right here, it's looking like a short for me, bouncing off of VWAP, keeps on going to the downside. But remember, like that just spiked into 614 and change. So yesterday, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we had like that $10 winner, and it was just right here. On this play right there into VWAP where we bought some 606s, $10, went $13 there, upside there on Meta. So you gotta wait for some key levels, and that's kind of looks like what it's trying to do right now, but a little choppy in there right now for Meta. So give that one a little bit of a rest maybe. Google was the big one today for me, downside, but it was upside for me, but downside for right now, and bouncing again. So that's not a bad level there. As you mentioned, you know, some potential love for Intel up at the top. 385.50 top trade there for Google to the downside. Oracle was ripping early with SNDK and like all these companies sort of still. See, there's that dark again, up to 170 again there, bouncing off the 50 period. I think Oracle's getting ready to sort of get back to the upside. I feel like it got flushed down through there through 140, really held out there at 140. So that little bit of a flush, I mean, if you can get anything around 150 and change, I think that's going to be a good one for Oracle. So if we do get a pullback, Oracle's probably one of those ones that you'd want to look at. All right, we got reloaded a bit there on NVIDIA. So let's just take a couple more pieces out at 200 while we can. We just got another fill there at about 30s. So we'll take another 30 cents as we just continue to try to scalp out of this name so that we don't get blown up to the upside again like we did there on Google. So we'll hold out here and see if it's going. Bitcoin 78.7. So shout out to JKL there, who continues to be short MSTR, which I guess is at probably going higher. I mean, I haven't looked. Yeah, up 6.5%. So there goes MSTR MicroStrategy. I remember when this thing was at like 110 or so down there when it made these lows. It was like, well, if you think Bitcoin is going to go, this is probably the thing to get into. And it's been a good trade there, but nice little top happening in MSTR. I think this is probably a decent reason to be short as Bitcoin's looking to break through 80,000. So MSTR here, 180 or so, key level. Let's go NVIDIA to the downside.
Yeah, and well, we finally got back into Intel. This is now number 3. I always say it's like give it 3 chances. Well, this time, fortunate enough that none of them have been bad yet, but it just wicked to the $0.50. It's not 100, but like that's pretty darn close to 100. And it did another. I've basically been short on every single turnaround in this stock. So as long as that happens,
give it to me. Oh my God, it bounced
that's what I want. But look at silver. Took the short on the reversion. It took out the prior bar high, so that's an automatic out every single time. I wish I could have gotten back into IBIT, but look at how high this is holding out. So it still hasn't made a fresh high, but I also haven't gotten back in a dip. There's not much for me to do with IBIT up here because it just hasn't come down far enough to get into a long, and if I had bought it anywhere else, I wouldn't exactly be winning. But USO just took a bit of a right-hand turn off of the lows. I don't know if we get a temporary bottom here in oil futures, that could be a signal for the market to turn a little bit. So keep an eye on oil futures because that's signaling a bit of a top for the market, bottom for USO.
Yeah, good look there. Hola, NVIDIA. Nice move, man. We just got a 50 print right there. My Spanish, I'm getting ready to, I'm taking Joe's advice, man. I'm going to, although I looked at I got a lot of cash back last year on the credit card, but I was thinking about you have a cash back one or a travel one, or what do you have? Or just a simple credit card?
I have cash back.
Yeah. So
my wife has travel. She travels a lot.
We just have one credit card, so.
Well, we do have a shared one. That one's cash back, but hers, travel on hers is great.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So I'm probably thinking switching into, I'm coming to Barcelona day trading, man. I'm just waiting for that flight. I mean, you have my email. Just send the ticket over there and we'll get going to Barcelona. I would love to go to Barcelona, man. We could go remote from Barcelona. That would be sick. We could do that. Message Brendan. He'll send me on the next flight out of here. No problem, I'm sure.
Road shows, man.
Yeah, Brendan already yelling at me to get back to my desk. I was 1 foot away from my desk over there.
I wouldn't mind heading down to, I'm just going to throw this one out there, Brendan. But even if we had like a little something from Vegas, I know Vegas isn't what it used to be, but I'm like the only trader in the universe who's never been to Vegas.
Joe hasn't.
Oh, for real? You never been to Vegas? Well, here's the question, Joe. Have you ever paid for somebody else to go to Vegas and you've never gone to Vegas yourself? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know, it's a long story, and I'm not going to get into it now.
It's not that long. But you don't have to get into it. It's your own personal business. So yeah,
no,
you brought it up. You're leaving everybody hanging over here.
And if you've watched the show long enough, if you've been around since like COVID, I've probably told that story before. It is what it is. So the market might be making a bit of a top, possibly. And that's only because you're getting a little bit of a bid here in USO. So got the first leg out at 98.5, 98, and then look for the volume weighted average price for me on Intel as we go to Adara to talk about some small caps, which I just realized we haven't mentioned a single one this morning. Adara.
We also have to talk about the Middle East again, guys. Channel 12 in Israel reporting that amid the ongoing negotiations between the U.S. and Iran, the IDF recognizes that military targets have been achieved, but as long as the nuclear program doesn't leave Iran and the enrichment doesn't stop, everything that's been done is one big failure. They also said that certain military officials, again, within Israel and the IDF, assessed that even after the missiles headquarters and commanders were attacked, the Iranian regime will be able to, quote, pounce on the nuclear program after the war ends. So IDF basically saying there's still a lot of work to be done should the nuclear program in Iran not end. Again, this is being reported by Israeli media, specifically Israeli Channel 12. Let's talk about these small caps now, though, because that is why we are here. SOBR is going to be in focus here. Sober Safe. They reported earnings last night. Loss per share improving on a year-over-year basis, but sales not improving on a year-over-year basis. $3.25 million market cap. Float here of just under 2 million shares, a stock that we've discussed before on this show. Next up here, LABT, Lakewood Amadex Biotherapeutics. They do have a new catalyst today. Not a lot of info on this company. I think they might be relatively new, but they did announce antimicrobial resistance data for their NU3 treatment. You've got a $51 million market cap and no float or share short float information. AKA, and last but not least, about $74, so not your typical small cap, but one that we've talked about a lot as of late. Akanda is a marijuana cannabis play here, so they've been in watch, of course, with recent rescheduling announcements in the U.S. $33 million market cap, 530,000 share float, so incredibly small float here in AKA, and no day one catalyst to mention here. Do make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content as we send you back over to the guys.
There, and I mean, we started hearing some of that news there out of Iran. The market started to tick a little bit lower there, and now it's trying to get back upside. So we just take more advantages of this trade there on NVIDIA, just not waiting for the cows to come home here. I mean, this is a Friday. I'm not sure this market wants to go down. So any kind of a pullback there on NVIDIA, as we were just saying, I said to Neil, like Meta is doing absolutely nothing, and like this is crazy right here. Like, I didn't think Meta on day two earnings, right? I mean, yesterday was a 10% move on Meta, and then today it's like an hour into the market, and you don't have anything. So, people, traders are trying to digest what that next leg is for Meta, whether or not it be higher or lower. I don't know. It's Apple's world today, man. I mean, they're almost at all-time highs. I think we have it, 290.30, something like that for Apple all-time high. Let me just see what eSignal has. They have 288.60s, but we did get, so here it is right here. It did get higher than that, but doesn't look like there's a close higher. There it is, 288.60s or so back in December. So if you sort of held out hope, the last time I had bought this thing was down on this kind of a break, I think 235. So we didn't get anything out there. Good little reload there at 250, of course, and now Apple, right, basically earshot, right? So you're right there at all-time high. So congrats to Apple shareholders that continue to hold and don't trade that name, similarly to what we're doing with Wow. SNDK went to 1150. That is insane. But anyways, there goes SNDK upside through, up now 3% as that name keeps on ticking around as well here today. Other looks, Palantir, did that get into 140? No, but still bouncing off 141 and change. So Palantir might have just found a bottom. This could be a great trade right now to get back up to into 146 as it does bounce around a little bit there. So good little level there for Palantir, maybe 141.50 if that does come through. I'm still holding the short. We didn't get a reload there at the 25 period. That's just 200. I was still waiting for higher on a reload there into the 50 area. So still trying to absorb VWAP.
Unbelievable, this stock.
Did it break 100 yet?
It's probably going to now. This is the third time.
Oh, okay, still there.
Intel, like every single pullback, I've been in every pullback, and each one has failed first support. Or I guess, you know what? If you're long, it's held first support. So it's pulling back into first support and holding, and I'm just shorting each one of these moves, and it's just not continuing. Like you catch a bid, you catch a bid, you catch a bid. At least in no cases have I let it go. Yeah, whatever. It's gonna get to $100 at this point. I was trying to put a silver lining on it, but like that's just silly. This stock probably wants a test of 100 before it gets there. IBIT is pulling back into VWAP for the first time since the open, or 940. So it's been like half the morning show. Like it started with IBIT, and then it's been taking a while to even consider getting back into this for a pullback into VWAP. So I'm kind of back to square one. We'll wait for Intel to get to $100, which it seems determined to do. Hopefully USO can calm down a bit if this is going to be a bounce on IBIT. Oh, there was one name I noticed. While I was shorting Intel, I looked over at a not as, what's the word I want to use? Not as high quality or loved chip space name or AI play, SMCI. And this is, like, that's the short you should go for. Instead of finding something which is parabolic, like try to revert something which has overhead resistance, right? Like where you figure there should be sellers because it's not as good. So this is relatively weak on SMCI. It's underneath VWAP, it's put in lower highs. If the market turns, it also gives me this, which would be open, and then some higher lows from the open to make a trend break. And then it's a trend break on a weak stock to the downside if the market goes down. So I might pivot from automatically shorting the next pop in Intel to looking for the market curl here on SMCI. And most of the reason that I'm looking for the curl is we had such a move down in USO. Yesterday, remember what happened? USO trended up, and then when it turned off the high, all of the longs came in. And then it was like, boom, the market took off. Well, it's been trending down today and has made a high volume bottom. If that turns, that kind of would confirm a bit of a top. We're up 1%. It's Friday. I usually don't feel like you only go in one direction on a Friday. So probably pivot to SMCI. Unless you get to $100 on Intel, which it really, really might.
Yeah, I mean, it's seeming like it's
I can't believe it's at $100.
Seems like it's getting there pretty soon right now. We did put a little bit more on to NVIDIA there at 200. We've just seen it come up a couple times, so we'll scalp some out there again at 70 on NVDA and see if it wants to go. Yeah, IBIT could be a trade too. I'm bidding 66s, so hopefully we get that right now as well. IBIT. For crypto names, there it is. We do get that 66, so now it's falling down even more as NVIDIA. Let's hold on that bid, 199.30 days low. There's IBIT, man, hitting the scanners again at VWAP. So there's my, oh man, like what the, Okay, there's my scanner there, IBIT. So there it comes. You see the VWAP line. So it's hitting it right now. These are the scanners that I have up. Meta as well, DraftKings, Robinhood, all hitting some kind of a predetermined sort of script level for myself. So there's VWAP there for IBIT, just pulling back in. Might be a good little level there to look at for IBIT if you believe in the Bitcoin story there for IBIT. So 44 bucks right now, 44.44 VWAP. I mean, yes. Ooh, man, we make a little bit back there from that Google bad trade there on Google early, but there goes NVIDIA, man. Just switch it up. You know, we saw NVIDIA was weak. There it goes, man. Now breaking lower. Now we're $1 in on this name. So, you know, we don't need to look at Intel right now because we have NVIDIA going down. But hopefully, if this continues to make a move down as well. And Intel's been going opposite. Yeah. I was just going to say maybe if NVIDIA continues to flush, then Intel could flush off of 100. But they're going completely in opposite directions right now. And I'm glad that we have the one that we do because I would probably look long on Intel, but it's not at the levels for me yet. I wanted to look at AMD there as well to see what's going on there. Not much. And then the name that's not doing anything is Meta. We can look back at Google. Google's still 385. Meta trying to break lower. We said I liked the short there at 614. I just felt like it wasn't enough. There wasn't enough going on, but there's VWAP, and these have been good levels short. So, yeah. I think we got lucky with Meta yesterday because we did put on a decent amount of shares despite it being $600, which is why that, you know, that was like a day maker back there for me considering what we did on Amazon yesterday. But a little bit of an irrational market, I would think today, up another 1% on what, right? I mean, we don't have too much news. We do have great earnings. And I think that that's generally been a good little level for the market to play off of. Great earnings reports. Yesterday, Google helps us higher. SanDisk today confirmed some of that data center build out as well. It's still pretty strong. And Amazon, I have to look at that. That was up to 270, new all-time highs as well. Check this out, Adara. It's Eli Lilly at 4.5% more right there. I'm not going to call up our picks because I don't want Joe to get upset over here. But there goes Eli Lilly. Yeah, Daryl, we liking that one now. 975 upside play. We'll watch out for 1,000. The reason why I'm excited about Eli Lilly, we got it in our own portfolio, of course, but also because it's right back to this level that we had talked about even this day before this day happened. It was like, oh my gosh, if we break that shelf, where do we go? Well, we went to the 200 period and then got lower. And Adara, I think we were saved by a great earnings report because that name was definitely heading lower.
Yeah, and I was going to say too, Sean, if you guys don't mind me waxing poetic about one of my favorite stocks for a minute, I mentioned to you some technical levels yesterday, 930, which it completely, like it did struggle with a bit initially, and then it cleared no problem. 940, another level, cleared no problem. I thought 960 would be an issue for us today. Guess what? Who cared? Not Lilly. So I have to congratulate the Eli Lilly shareholders. You guys know I love watching this name and talking about this name, and a shout out and congrats to you, Sean, on that pick.
Yeah, good call out there, Adara, as we all get better at reading levels.
These stocks don't care about resistance when they get going. Like when you look at some of the these really bull plays, which brings me to a poll I want to put up here.
Yeah, put that.
And if there's a name that maybe I shouldn't have, I don't know. You can look at this one too. SNDK. Which runner are you buying? Because there's so many things which are like they're high flyers, they're gonzo. I can talk about them being irrational. 1 for SNDK, 2 for Intel. Full screen that. 2 for Intel, 3 for AMD, 4 for Micron. I'm just putting the chip names in. I'm sure there's other things that I could add, but just let me know. And I don't want to be trader. The whole idea is that there's no option for none of the above. Because you can dislike any of them at these prices, but I just want to see, like, if you had a gun to your head, you got to buy something which is absolutely pressing into fresh highs and you think can continue. So we're going to see what the votes might be in here for sure. It does feel like, I don't know, I'm going to cast mine for AMD. Based on my experience. But that's more even than I would have expected. Intel gets 33% of the vote for now, pretty early, but AMD 19, pretty even between those four. We'll leave that up. It's a 10:30 now, so we'll get rid of that when we go into the midday, and then they can do their own thing with their poll. But that's the whole idea, gun to the head. Like, you got to buy highs. Which one are you going to do? And statistically speaking, we've talked about this before, buying highs not necessarily the end of the world.
The best strategy.
If you look at it in a long-term base, because nobody is good enough to get absolute bottoms. But when you're buying highs, you're buying something on strength instead of on weakness. All right, there's the trend break on SMCI we're looking for.
Yeah, good job there on SMCI looking for trend breaks. We don't need no trend break right here, as there goes NVIDIA, man. We already identified the trend was lower a long time ago, and that's been short here for about a half hour, as there we go, getting into the lows of the day. So congratulations for tailing this one, if you're in it with me there. NVIDIA breaking lower now through 199. We just reloaded it, man. We've had $1 in the last minute right there. So again, you know, you don't need to always look at the big shiny thing. There you just got to find where opportunity is, and I think we do a great job of doing that. And you know, thanks for Adair for breaking down some Eli Lilly there for us. But we're breaking it down right now, run DMC style, with 198.80. There it goes, man. Now you're $1.50 in the money as we start to get a little excited here. We've only traded two names today, Google and NVIDIA, and we'll see if that can get a little lower for us right now. Palantir's coming back into some levels as well. What do you guys want to talk about right now? USO, yes, NVIDIA. Wow, okay. This is even better than we thought right now. NVIDIA starting to go low side, so we like that one. Now $1.50 on NVDA. USO trying to get back up into 141. Potential short area there, but there goes NVIDIA. Yes, sir. Boom. Good trade there as we're making some back. You know, so far so good. XPO. That's a... XPO Logistics, that just came out, a new upgrade over there. But yeah, I don't know, maybe Eli Lilly, the next one, breaking through 1,000. I don't know if that's gonna happen today. 985 and change. Yeah, we're getting ready to go. Here we go. Intel short, people saying they held, so that's probably good. I don't know where Intel is right now. Bounces clearly off that. Yeah, wow, what a...
Goes to 90.
You know,
the one level it doesn't
such
get
an easy trade in hindsight, but...
The only level it doesn't get to. But you know what? Intel required a lot of timing.
I mean, it got to 100. It got to 99.80.
Effectively.
Yeah,
I mean, I had all three of the other shorts, but just not that one. And ultimately, it just comes down to, you know, you got to pick your spot. But anyways, got into a new one. And what I like about the trend breaks is when it goes, that's usually like a stop out level for some longs, because they're buying the dip there, and then you're buying the dip there, and then it's like, oh no, if it breaks a trend, we'll stop it out. So you get that initial flush in. So now if the market has made that bottom, if USO has made that bottom and the market has made that top, I'm expecting low of the day on that particular name. And you got to be disciplined about things too. Like, just because IBIT came back, IBIT came back into VWAP doesn't make it a buy at VWAP. It's just a line on a chart. There was no support there whatsoever. There's a difference between pulling in, confirming support, and holding, and blowing right through it. So until I see the strength come back in, there's no need to fight that thing. We can just be one and done if that's what it wants to do. I'm perfectly fine with that. It is 10:33. We even looked at Tesla today? No. I don't think so. But holding up pretty well at the highs. The thing about those highs for Tesla, though, is you have now filled in this gap all the way into like 388 to 392. So it's a bit of a resistance zone itself. We're now holding some strength, which makes sense, because it was mostly the chips that brought us up. So I think it's the chips that bring us down, at least initially first. But the new one for me was simply SMCI, going to reload this at VWAP, and then just looking for the low of the day. And we just went all black.
Okay, we don't want to go all black there. Yeah, so far so good here, as of course we continue to talk our game up here, and it's been a good game today so far. GG, NVIDIA, GG, as they like to say, but it's a nice downside move there for NVDA. Yeah, Tesla, people saying Tesla booming. Actually, no, we can look at Rivian as well here today. There goes Tesla to 388, sorry, up 2%. Tesla has these moves early. You just got to try to believe in one way. Would have been kind of like Google there, where it's kind of screwed you up early, went long, Google went the other way, and then back in, and then ripped to the upside. So Tesla's still holding out for it right there. Wow. NVIDIA is now $2.50 in the money, so that's going to be a good one. Enjoy that as we get smoking here on NVIDIA downside right now. Yeah, NVIDIA just definitely extending its decline now. Now down over 1%. I'm going to put another bit out. Well, you know, might as well. We'll take another piece out. We still have about a third on of this position. So if that comes in, even better for us, even more, but we'll see. A little bit of a reversal here happening now. We did want to look at SoFi early at 16, and we sort of stayed away from it. I guess that was wrong. I mean, we wanted to play the pullback on SoFi. When it was pulling back, I was like, well, the market was doing this and SoFi was doing that. So we didn't really like it, but it looks like it does hold out at 1590. So maybe there's something there to look at. NVIDIA is bouncing, so we'll see if that holds out hope right now. But 1592, 1595, decent there. Google pulling back in, and this is the name that we got moked on early, but there it is, back up to 385. This could be, you know, back into VWAP. Let's see if that winds up holding. We did think that Google, again, a little disappointing today. This is why we went short. It was down early, and we just thought, hey, man, if the market's going to rip and this isn't, we looks like we got stopped out about $1.50 ahead of the recent move, but that's okay. That's pulling back in right now, so watch out for traders that are looking at Google. That seems to be an interesting play here at VWAP, so maybe a buy for those of you looking at some Google.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think there's going to be opportunities when you're at all-time highs to pull back, but remember, when you're at all-time highs, sometimes that pullback can take days and weeks. Yeah. We just had earnings. Give it a breath. We're going to take not a break, but we're going to head on over to the screen. I see a name that is of interest up there, Sia.
You see a name?
100%. We have been talking about this, and I've been hearing everyone talk about this, but let's take a deeper dive into Roblox and what's causing this performance gap. So the revenue, however, has increased 43.4%. We need to take a look at the EPS loss of 27 cents per share, which is down from the previous quarter last year. Revenue, yes, high, but there's also that all-time high that we had in 2025 when the stock reached and was trading at $141.56. But it's key to note of this nasty dip that's taking place, and currently the stock is not even trading at the initial IPO price and the all-time high. So there's a lot of strategic headwinds that are taking place. User friction. So in April 2025, Roblox did launch the Roblox Kids and Roblox Select, where users were restricted to their age environments, which is causing a lot of user gap. Users are not allowed to interact outside of their environment. This is a good thing, yes, but it's also causing a headwind for the company. There's a network split, which is caused by the same. Then we have the infrastructure costs that are also coming in. The company is spending heavily on their AI resources to keep a check on the communication during the games, and at the same time to cautiously allow the games to go as they are properly, but that is also dragging the company's revenue down. Now, this 248 million gap loss, that's also creating certain margin ceiling for the company, which is good long-term, but is dragging down the revenue. It all comes down back to that, which is causing the guidance miss. Now, the company's IPO did launch in 2021, where, again, it was trading around that around like a good region, around the $64 region. But another thing to know is that the IPO was not traditionally offered. It was directly offered within the company. So employees and shareholders that were already existing held that and offered it to the public. Again, not a bad stock, but at the same time, you could see how the earnings have dipped. You could see that there have been a lot of concerns over child safety. We've been talking about it on the show, which is what is leading to this poor performance.
Yeah, and unfortunate. It's a good, Roblox is actually a really good example of, well, it can be a popular business, and they can get all kinds of users, generate all kinds of legitimate revenue numbers, but the stock performance has just not been very good. There's no other way to put it. I'd love to. It's having a great day, I guess, if you're long on the day trade today. But outside of that, it's been a bit of a disaster. Well, the target was the prior day high, which is also the opening range low. We might have already had a bottoming tail on SMCI there, so it was a bit of a trend break. Not like a gigantic up at the top, but lost VWAP, lost the trend. But I want to pull back into that prior high. Gonna leave the bid in, but if that's a bottom tail candle that breaks back out, then I'm going to trail out here. Really just about like the mechanics of it. Yeah, you know what? And there it is. Just going to jump out. I actually hadn't even moved my stop, but I'll just punch out of that one. Like, that's the idea. Like, I'm looking for that trade, give it to the bar, look for that low, and then hunt for the next opportunity. And if we find some bullishness in IBIT, this would be the spot that we got in last time. But the other thing I want to make sure of, hey, USO is at VWAP. as long as we're not pressing through, like if this starts screaming through the volume weighted average price, I would expect the market continues to find a little bit of a dip. But if we can hold that volume weighted average price, there hasn't been a red candle on USO in the 3-minute for like a half an hour now. If we can put one in, then I want to re-enter into IBIT for the long. So that's what I'm looking for next. Potentially also a reload in that SMCI now that we see that it's relatively weak. To me, it's just an easier short. It's under VWAP. It's made some false highs. Heck, it's SMCI, so it's not even that popular of a long stock, if we're being honest. It's like the only chip name that isn't parabolic in the last few months.
Yeah, SMCI. But I mean, they're kind of fraudulent. Okay, so there's Meta. I mean, wow, that was a good call. That was a good idea. We don't have it on, but at least we talked about it right there, saying that, this looked pretty good up there. Had to withstand a little bit. I think I'm finding maybe potentially a new favorite stock here. So we'll watch out to see Meta there. Definitely read that good yesterday and read it pretty good here today again, but always dangerous day one or day two off of earnings there. Baba is a chip name, of course, and 131 and changes. Alibaba gets into DeepSeek and DeepMind and all that kind of stuff. But their downside there, just hitting again near the day's low, is Alibaba. And look at that, man, a perfect bounce off VWAP for the NASDAQ. So that could be something that we look at as well there. NVIDIA, we talked about only having a third left. We're covering it down there. I mean, it got into 197.50. We do have our best trade out was 197.34. I'm thinking about loading this thing back up actually at VWAP. So I'm going to wait to see if we do get a bump up into 200. So probably nothing until then. At the 50 period, we'll put something on 199.40, but looking for a little bit more up here in and around 200. So let's put an offer at 199.40 and go over to the desk, I believe with Adara. Wow, it's already 10:40. Oh my. Time sure gets going on around here. Meta kind of bounced back up. Adara at the desk, I believe.
Let's look at the sector board, guys. Lots of strength here. Retail trade mostly to the upside. Eli Lilly continuing to try to hold down the fort in an otherwise weak health tech sector. Consumer services with some bright spots. Consumer durables, again, Tesla trying to lead up an otherwise pretty flat sector today, but TSLA is up on the day. Utilities green, consumer non-durables green, finance green. Tech services, both Oracle and Palantir to the upside, guys. Palantir reports on Monday, so keep an eye on this stock and in the SaaS space with that in mind. APP, which also reports next week, I believe on Wednesday after the bell, they're also trading slightly higher pre-market. Electronic tech is really all over the place here. You've got Apple and Micron both to the upside. Apple on its own earnings, Micron likely earning sympathy with the likes of WDC and SNDK. And then Qualcomm to the downside. This looks like this one's trading a little bit lower here, guys, on earnings day two. GLW, another name that reported earnings earlier this week. This stands out to me, down about 3% today. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. It is already 10:45. It's that time we usually slow things down. We just want to get to know stocks. But, don't turn around because we want the market. Oh, do turn around. We want the market to go up. Maybe. We'll see. So SMCI is bouncing back. I want this to go into VWAP to look for a reload. But the other side of that equation is if I'm looking for the short continuation, I'd rather USO continue to print green. If I see it turn, then it's IBIT I like in the other direction. So I'm kind of in between here because we need to make a determination. We're not there yet, and I'd like us to get there. That's what I'm waiting for. Next, Tesla apparently just making some fresh highs because it's Tesla, and it's apparently Elon's world. And we're all just living in it. 2 points today. Tesla wants that 4. You want it.
388 already.
But the problem is it's got a wall in and around 390 to 400, which it was support, and then it just turned into like resistance on the downtrend, and it was resistance there again. So yeah, it's doing some heavy lifting, but it's got a long way to go before this looks even better on a higher time frame. But I love the higher low that's being put in on Tesla. I'll be disappointed because I wanted 280 on the dip, and it didn't even come within 10% of that when looking at the April lows. That's how it goes sometimes. You throw in stink bids, sometimes you just don't get filled, and it never gets to your price, and there's nothing you can do about it. And then you find a place to get in even higher. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I've done that a million times. Like, I wanted to dip ING Vernova in like the 600s or some nonsense, and then ended up buying it like, I think at like 780 or 8. Went to 1,000 anyways.
Yeah, as long as the market keeps.
Yeah, as long as the market keeps on going up, usually, you have to stick with the strong names. And believe me, sometimes that's gritting your teeth. and buying a price that was like 10%, 20% on a good stock, higher than where you might have wanted it. But the trend's your friend.
Yes, that's for sure. Okay, so, all right, we basically got reloaded, but it's still not a full position. Well, it is. We have about 1.5 units or so right now, so we have a position, but it's definitely not what we're trying to get. If we can get up here into 200, then we'll put on, I think we'll probably have like maybe 3 units or so by the time it gets up there, so our average price probably won't change too much from where we are right now, just about 50 more cents, and we'll average in at VWAP. Then I'm going to get stopped out if we take out this 200 period moving average there to the upside, as we want to see what NVIDIA has to do here, as the market has really bounced off of those levels. And talk about Meta finding another low again. Oops, meta.id. How about meta.nq? Found another low there, had 606, so came in again into some levels. If we look at what happened yesterday, okay, good, no wicks on here. Look at that, right into yesterday's sort of afternoon lows there with Meta. So wow, good little trade there if you were looking at that. 605 and change for Meta, 606 let's call it there. So that's a good level to potentially bounce off of again if we get down there. So we'll have to watch some Meta. And okay, so here we go. NVIDIA's climbing back up. So we'll see what winds up happening here as we get back into $200. We do have that target idea back on right now for that. I assume with everything going back up, we can, again, look at SNDK, no problem.
I think we have a couple super chats here.
Is that released?
So
I don't know if it's released yet.
Yeah, CPC, I'm unaware. And if there is a ticker for SpaceX that they've announced what it will be, we know there's going to be the IPO this year in a few months, sometime in the summer, but I don't think we've actually seen a ticker. They can't do SPCE, we know that, because that's Virgin Galactic. So we don't know what the ticker will be. Ultimately, it doesn't matter, but I'm sure it's Elon, so it'll be something fun. And then I don't know if we got to this one as well. This would... KY is out of the office. There you go. I don't know why that was so hard for me.
All right,
I inadvertently held Intel while on vacation. Accidental 40% gain. Well, that's the funny thing about it. Like, it goes 40% on a vacation. Like, usually people vacation like a week or 2 weeks. So in one of those time frames, it went 40% for you. Now trying to figure out an Intel swing trade exit. Any thoughts? I don't know, trailing stop somewhere on a trend line. It gets parabolic. Going parabolic like this. I usually will just like slap a trend line on it or do like some kind of a measured, like this move was from $40 to $70, so I would just sort of take that, and then when it breaks out, that takes you to 100. Like, I usually get very simplistic like that when I'm just telling you what I usually do. So like when it does that, that's why I told you I'm looking to sell some at 100, because this was 40 and that was 70, that's 30 bones. When it goes another 30 on the next breakout, I think that's the next area. I keep it like stupidly simple. It's a really good problem to have. Like, whatever, you're going to sell it for a gigantic profit. But that's why I was leaning at 100 for myself today, which I will probably do at like 11:05.
Yeah, it has literally, again, we talked about printing millionaires on SNDK and all that. I mean, that is, I don't think millionaires on Intel, but that's a almost 5-bagger there
SNDK
from where the government's like, in. And we're in that name.
38 bagger, something like that?
Yeah, if you put in 10 grand into SNDK, you're at $310,000 or something.
I thought it was
like
more than that.
No, $30 to $1,060. Yeah, about 1,100. Yeah,
it's like 37 times.
Yeah,
that's more. It's closer to 400,000.
I mean, now it's all the way up. I mean, I did the math at
Intel's not even. Yeah, Intel's not in that range. If Intel goes another, because Intel would have to go another 4.5x from here within a year.
Yeah.
I feel pretty good that that's not happening.
Here goes NVIDIA. We just did get a short, and it did pull right back off of VWAP there, and it got into the 50s. We didn't even have any bids out. It happened so quick. So we'll have to wait to see what happens now as NVIDIA just retesting that 200 marker. We said that we'd get some up here, and that would be our level. So there it is, man. Now our average price is 80s. So we've done really well on NVIDIA so far, but we could give some back here, waiting out for that $200 mark and 50 cents. So we'll see if NVIDIA wants to go. This is trying to get meme crazy right now, and that's not what we like to see. So hopefully some sellers can come in here for NVDA, but you can't keep a good stock down for too long. We did hit it to the downside and covered, but we have reloaded NVIDIA right now. So in this trade, NVDA, let's see if it can drop from here. But yeah, I think the momentum names are getting into what's for lunch soon, but the momentum name is Tesla today, man. I mean, and Intel, we talked about that, but Intel, Tesla right now at day's high. I'm not sure how many stocks are right now at day's high, but definitely 99 problems. The long ain't one for Tesla here today. Money talks. You can't do anything without money, and we're going to see what that sounds like right now with Adara.
Take a look here at the U.S. dollar, which is continuing to struggle here to get back above that 99.50 area. We had this gap up and then slam lower on Monday, and I think that really set the tone for the week. 3 of the 5 sessions this week were red. I do want to mention here before I get into more USD stuff, I am seeing comments coming from, or I guess more details rather, of that proposal we heard about a couple hours ago from Iran. A journalist named Abdullah Khalouf revealing more details about the new Iranian proposal, saying that Tehran has accepted discussing the nuclear file through technical and technological committees. They are considering a long-term freeze on enrichment and deferring their missiles and arms files to a later stage. So again, that's being reported here by Al Jazeera. Some details I'm seeing here on that proposal from Iran. I want to talk as well here about rates to get back into the U.S. dollar. So here's a look at, you can find this on the probability section of the CME Group Fed Watch tool. So this is interesting here. We're now still seeing December 2027 as the earliest chance of a rate cut on the CME Fed Watch tool. However, the chance of this rate cut is still dwindling. I remember seeing roughly 40% chance of that rate cut in December earlier this week. Now only 36% chance. Now, if you go over here to the next meeting, June 2026, not seeing that 100% chance of a hold, which is what we got over here, of course, back in April, the meeting we had on Wednesday, but still 91% more or less here chance of rates being held. Still a very much a wait and see, but leading towards hawkish look for the Fed. Back to you.
Not zero. So you're saying there's a chance. Saying there's a chance. Like Jim Carrey. Yeah, it was in why can't I remember the movie? Was that Dumb and Dumber?
I don't know that line.
Was it Dumb and Dumber, Joe? Joe says it was Dumb and Dumber.
Then
I haven't seen
it must be.
I think I watched that movie one time. It was a great movie, but I think I watched it literally once.
It was that great.
And I didn't watch. Oh, it was hilarious.
Was it? I don't know. I rewatched.
I thought some comedies. It's like that type of comedy. It's not always like I can watch Tropic Thunder a million times and laugh probably just as hard.
Yeah. Once you sort of know the joke.
I've never found that the same. Like I can't watch Pet Detective a second time and laugh the same way. And nothing against Jim Carrey. It's just a certain type of comedy that it is what it is. Like Old School, I can watch multiple times and laugh.
Yeah, you have to have his cable. You'll see Old School on a bunch of times. That's
for
for sure a good one there.
It's aight.
It's aight. Yeah, so again, a good dropout there on NVIDIA and took advantage of it into the 50-period moving average, just trying to scalp it out right now. We're going to figure out right now what's for lunch. We did have those little beef patties, a little too greasy in the morning, but the quesadilla.
What should be like breakfast?
It came with chicken
lunch.
quesadilla, and that was really good. I know you didn't have one. That was much, much better. Okay, today we got Japanese flag, so as long as it's not tilapia, we'll be okay. And it's actually a good one. We've had this many times. The Japanese beef don. So I thought I said udon. Maybe it's supposed to be udon. But right there, so a little beef dish. We had Thai beef earlier this week. Yeah, we did have a Thai dish that was beef on Wednesday. Jasmine rice. Again, there's your sauteed vegetables. Green salad with sesame dressing. Not bad. That's what's for lunch. Sounds like a good one there. Japanese today around here. So it's been, really a pleasure to be here trading with everybody today. And I hope you guys are enjoying the show. You're getting ready for the midday show coming out right now as the NASDAQ says all-time highs one more time here today. And it's just an impressive move higher in the NASDAQ, up 1%. Now trying to fade back out just a little bit as we wait for Intel to break potentially. That's what I was going to say. It's at right now. There again. This is where we bounced off last time. We went up to 99.80. Let's see what happens if this does sing a fine tune through that $100. I could see like a fake break and fake and back in and then a rip. So we'll wait to see what happens right there with INTC. But there it goes. Nice little dump off again off of 80s. So, if you want the short here, I don't want to hear anybody crying over it. You could take it right now if you want it. But here it goes. Be careful of that $100 $100 break, man, it could really start to sing if that does wind up happening. So Intel right now breaking through 100, definitely worth a watch. I'll probably take a little bit if I can get something.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends on your style. Like some people, I don't like shorting a parabolic stock by sitting in front of a level. I'd rather have a bad price and like it makes a high, then you get short. It makes a high, then you get short. It makes a high, then you get short. I'd rather do that if I have a choice. So again, failed break is what I'm looking for. Some kind of a topping tail and reversal. Ooh, we just had another super chat in there. Let me get it up there. We've got Ian Respeto. Hey, Ian, been a minute. Never go, okay, yeah. I know. Yes. There's so many good quotes from that film. And it was, I forget the name, something Booker. Anyways, one of the guy that played the rapper, I forget the character. The guy that played the rapper said that they actually had an idea for a sequel, which would have been really cool. But obviously it never happened. There's a lot that would go into that. Like how much you're gonna get Tom Cruise back, which I would imagine would be incredibly difficult.
For Tropic Thunder, yeah.
Yeah, like look what's happened to Robert Downey Jr. since that movie. I would imagine it's a little bit more difficult to pull together because some of the stars are like Jack Black.
I mean, there's huge size at Intel.
It's huge. It's about 1 million
Look at this.
shares.
Come over to my screen right here. You'll see. There it goes. See you later. Intel now upside. We get long at 09s, and it's going to be, oh no, because here comes the break back down. We said this could be a fake and break. We did not hit this with very many shares at all. As it breaks, now it's going to probably come right back in. And I'm not going to hold it. If this breaks back down through 80s, there it goes, and we're out. So really nothing done there, but I do think that there is another break opportunity coming. There it is for Intel the very next time. Well, oh, now it goes. Okay, that's fine. We did get stopped out, but like I said, it's not a huge amount of shares. So here it comes right back in again. So we've got it again now on Intel, this time at 25s. We'll see if we get a little bit of a lower price now on Intel as it's trying to mature its way up through $100. And maybe its next stop is indeed 101. But we'll wait to see where that's going. Now we're back long into Intel. Right now we do have the short though on NVIDIA. So as one going high side, hopefully one going low side. So we'll take a little bit out of NVIDIA at 70s right there and watch out to see what winds up happening with Intel. And here it comes, pushing right back in again, is Intel. So a lot of action here at that level, right? Tons of shares just got blasted through. It didn't even look at 100. It came up and said, thank you very much. So we'll take a piece out here in the 30s again on Intel, as now it's starting to climb just a bit higher. So I think we traded it okay, but we need to continue higher, right? Lose 20 cents on the first piece. Now we're in 15 cents, 20 cents on the high side there, and we'll wait to see if Intel wants to continue its exploration of new highs right there. We got some out in the 30s, and here it goes again. Just one little whoosh up now probably gets this thing into the 50s again, and then we can think about getting some out one more time here on Intel, as here it comes, pulling back just a little bit. So yeah, this one's going to be a difficult trade just because of the volume that's happening right now, and traders will settle out. As we said, a lot of traders will look at key levels and say, that's my out. So there could be now some pressure on this $100 level with INTC. Let's see how low it can go. Maybe 99 would be a decent spot here to think about getting out if it does break below that. But Intel just trying to figure itself out. We'll see if the next move's higher or lower over here. Still holding out hope that NVIDIA can get lower as well. But Intel's now pushing just that one more time down to the downside. So we only got a piece out there at $100.30 or whatever that was. But right now, Intel pulling back in.
Well, it's 2 minutes until we're off the air, and when we do, I'm going to be hitting the sell on, I don't know how much. I haven't decided yet. Probably 20%. I usually always usually do 20%. Guess what I did last time? So I'll probably be in only 60% of my long-term position on Intel. SMCI pulled back into the prior high from that first trend break, so it hasn't made a fresh top. The thing I didn't get back into was actually IBIT. Bitcoin. Well, IBIT. Yeah, I'm not trading Bitcoin. You can trade Bitcoin if you're trading. We just trade IBIT. And it's now trying to hold VWAP, but it's not really holding the volume weighted average price well. I want to see it hold that higher low. There we go. Hold the higher low, and then we can go. Then the problem with this, though, is USO is holding the top end. Like, USO is holding over VWAP. Over VWAP was what I said I would still like shorts if it did, and that's what it's continuing to do. So I would love some confirmation that we're heading back lower on oil futures, which have been incredibly weak for the entire time here. So again, 1 minute to go. The name that we have not talked about, apologies, you can't cover and look at everything, is still going higher. The worst stock overnight has probably been one of the best longs since the open. Roblox has regained about 15%. well, maybe just under 15%, because I don't think it was ever 30% down. But a strong day for Roblox. It has gone right back into overhead resistance from yesterday. But there hasn't really been a trend break. I'm being patient with this one. Very, very patient. But I will, at some point, I'm looking for a reversion. I told you guys earlier, it was right around this 47 area. It just hasn't pulled back off 47 yet. So that's what I'm watching. Obviously, I'm in SMCI. Roblox is likely to be a trend break into VWAP for myself. And then I just heard in my ear Spirit Airlines preparing to shut down.
Yeah, I think they were.
Well, that's not. Yeah, they needed a bailout from the U.S. government was the real talk. So I guess if they're not going to get the bailout, then they're toast, right? Like that was. The airlines are a tough business, man. Like they just go from bailout to bailout. It's like it's just how it goes for them. It's a difficult business. And the FTC blocked a deal that would have saved Spirit shareholders, only for them to potentially go under.
Yeah, and the shareholders voted against, apparently, the deal that Trump was, or the U.S. government was trying to negotiate to keep Spirit alive, keep that spirit strong. But yeah, it looks like they are momentarily away from shut down their bankruptcy for Spirit, but we'll see. Someone could still come in. Meta made its way all the way back to 612 right now, by the way. So into those levels might be something in and around there for Meta. As Nvidia falls, so does Intel. So we have both of these names, but it's Nvidia rate. We have Intel long though, unfortunately. There goes Nvidia right back into the 50 period. So we did real well by waiting for VWAP on that, and we actually got it at 200, and there it goes right there down to the downside as we've just been shorting NVIDIA all day, and we'll just see. It's been weak. Obviously, the market up 0.7, NVIDIA now flat on the day, but here goes Intel breaking. I mean, we're down 60 cents on this, but it does look like it's starting to now break back below that 99 level. So just coming into some areas. This is why we're trying to buy it. That's 98.50 dip down. I don't know how long I want to really hold this thing, but right here, Intel with the sellers. We said, like, people are going to sell this name. It's probably up here near 100. Just thought we would take that risk to see if it did continue its parabolic move, and it doesn't look like it's doing that at all as Intel, there it goes, continues to fall back in, down now through that quarter point. Okay, man, we got a winner on NVIDIA, but not so much on Intel. We'll see if we can bounce back through 99 bucks and then get that back into 100, but not yet as Intel continues to fall down. Thanks for the show. It's been a good one, man. It's 11.